Hey, welcome to another episode of Season 4, Episode 8 of Season 4 of the Operation Grow Show. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday so far, wherever you happen to be. Hopefully, all over here it's getting a bit windy and blustery as we've got a couple of weather fronts moving through, so it's battened down the hatches, get in front of the fire and enjoy it while it blows past. So on that note, quickly, let's have a quick round of introductions, everybody. We've got guest on the show today. We've got Dan from Embracing Organics. We've also got Mr. Bagseed who's dropping in to see us, which is great. So yeah, let's see. Genetic Memory Farms, GMF, how are you doing, sir?
You're on mute, bud.
Excellent. Nice to be here. Dan, thank you for coming to join us, and it's nice to get to meet you, bud.
Hey, man, likewise. It's always fun. You guys finally caught me on a Saturday where I'm not doing anything.
Eventually, after enough attempts, we got you on. So yeah, no, cool. And how you doing there? What are you about to? Or have you just ripped a bong? So I'm watching the wrong feed. I'm watching the YouTube one.
That's all right. I'm just playing with the usuals. I just knocked down some Pakistani Chitral by Superdog. I'm still kind of working my way through that till the next things I got playing around start coming in. Still got the cobs handy, so kind of comparing and contrasting still the two for fun. Thought about maybe seeing if our infused kombucha is ready today. That's a gram in a tea bag. So just working its way through. You can see the Kool-Aid starting to clarify, it's starting to lose its color. So that's a good sign we're getting a good fermentation. That's about it. That's all my toys I have with me today.
I must say this tequila is getting in the mix as well, very nicely. Cannot complain about that one. Let's see, Tyler. Nice background there. If you wouldn't mind to not strike a pussy on the show to get us demonetized, thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Doing okay over here.
That was an easy low joke.
You see, I've made some upgrades. I'm actually on my computer this time, so I can actually involve with the chat.
Hey, nice, fantastic. How's you? How the plants coming along?
Doing great. I just leaf stripped the one that's not the control and monster crop the rest of them. The pop and twist one, I've noticed that it's actually the shortest right now, and the stalk's going to be the thickest. The monster crop, it's doing its trick, but it's growing like a weed. And then the leaf strip one is just killing it, and control is just a giant tree right now. I'll upload pics in a couple minutes.
Nice, yeah, no, that'd be excellent. Good to see. Wow, everybody in chat, Dank Brownies, Abolished Farms, Painted Lady, Chris, Purple Thumb, Four Plants. I hope everybody's doing well. Sorry if I've missed people. It's flying past at the moment. And yeah, Lefty, how are you doing, sir? Move all done?
Yeah, just tidying up, putting things away, and I'm trying to find a home for everything at this point. But yeah, everything here is looking good, man. I was looking at my plants yesterday, and that first monster crop I put on them is about 2.5 foot down the plant from the top. So
it's quite a serious monster crop.
They're crazy, dude. They're crazy. I don't know what to do with them. I got about 6 inches, 7 inches, and they're going to be bottomed out again. So hopefully they'll slow down, or otherwise they'll keep snapping the tops over.
Sure.
And they look good, man. They look good. They're starting to set. Set. I don't have my fire reds hooked up. Usually I set 3, 4, 5 days earlier than what these have. So I'm seeing a difference just not having those far reds in there. But yeah, hoping to wrap up everything with that set up here in the next day or two, and gonna try and hook my minder back up and see what kind of luck I have with that.
And remind me again, the 4 that are growing, because 3 are the same, 1 is different. And what were they again?
The 3 that are the same are Peach Pie from Bloom Seed Company.
Okay,
and then I have a Ethiopian Banana by X18 that's in there with it.
You getting any peach or pie?
Actually, I have the plant I took the cuts off of is just wrapping up flower. It'll be done in about a week. And yeah, it definitely has some peach smell to it. Has some funk to it. If anybody's grown blueberry muffins, I'm getting a lot of that like funky muffin smell from it as well, that you kind of get from the blueberry muffins. So yeah, it's definitely peachy, little funk, little fruit. It's a little different, but it's frosty as all hell.
Nice. And Dan, welcome to the show, sir.
What's going on, Pete?
All good, man. All good. What are you up to this fine afternoon?
Yeah, it's afternoon for me. Not a whole lot going on today. Just kind of taking it easy, kind of on Cadillac mode today, you know. It's been a while since I got to actually just like take a Saturday off and just not do anything. Just like, dude, I woke up at noon. Like I got out of bed at like 12:30. Like it's great. I don't have days that happen like that much anymore. So just been taking advantage of it.
I can't remember the last time that happened.
See what I mean? Like it's been so long since I've had a day where I can just not do anything. So I'm taking full advantage.
Yeah, my body just kicks me out these days. I mean, there was a time when that was easy. Now it's like, no, you're up, but I don't want to be up. Quick, run up to the garage. Medicate. I'm sleepy again.
Yeah, man. It's basically what my day's been consistent of is YouTube videos. I made a little breakfast and just been getting high all morning.
Sorry, I need to remind people that there's something going on. I've been kindly being offered pancakes, but I'll pass. Unless anybody on the show wants some pancakes, I could get some made up quickly for you.
I'm still hungry. Yeah,
I'm always hungry.
Take 4. Dark stack syrup on the side.
Yep. I know who's going to have to clean it up later, but hey. And Mr. Bagsy, good afternoon. Just before I was almost about to catch you as you took a hit there.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, just hanging out, man. Yeah, had a wild morning. I told you that cop deal. That was crazy because, yes, they broke into my wife's Jeep last night, parked out front of the house. People were going down the street and breaking into all the cars, but they had like legit like key fob hacks so they could unlock the cars. I watched it on my camera. And they just like would walk up and they unlocked the car and they got in and stole her purse and then locked it back up, kept walking. It was like at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, at least they didn't break anything.
No, yeah, they didn't break anything. I was freaking access sitting here and like a bunch of cops like were rolling down the street. So I went out there and they're like, "Is your wife Taylor?" I'm like, "I don't know, maybe."
How
like
much
cops,
is bail first?
Yeah, like I'm 100% legal, but you still see a cop like that, and you're like, I don't know. I mean, what the fuck? They're like, yeah, someone was breaking into stuff, and I only know because my wife was bitching at me about her purse. She's like, "Did you steal my purse?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't take your damn purse." Like,
no, somebody else did.
I looked on the camera. Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. Someone walked up and unlocked it, got it, walked out, locked it back up, and then went to the neighbor's house. And they just kept doing it. There was 3 people walking the street though, and it was crazy. Yeah, but that was my morning. So.
And it is going to be that one where the people who whose vehicles have been robbed and that are going to be like, okay, something. Did I leave it inside? It's that
I locked
because
my
everything's
locked.
I
mean, everything's locked. Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing. But that's why that's fucking those guys. I couldn't imagine what they're actually getting away with because they're just like legit, probably just walking down the street and seeing what they can unlock, and then they'll hit those. And I mean, that's crazy. So now I got another camera, so I'm extra watching them now. I might jump out of this leaf pile. I got leaf pile on my front yard. I might just like hop out.
Rottweiler ready to go.
Yeah, no.
The short temper and a long leash.
Yeah, for sure. Pit bull. Yeah, no. Heck yeah. That was my morning though. Now I'm just sitting back smoking, so now I can relax.
Now you're taking the edge off.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what are you growing at the moment?
Currently, so I just chopped down some clones. I guess it was a Soulfire Garden jelly biscuit. Turned out really good. So I'm actually trying to re-veg one of those cuts because I've never tried that method or anything, but I'm trying to do that if I can. And then I have let's see, it's Ethos. It's a Purple Magic from Ethos. I just chopped that down. And then TH Seeds, they have a French cookies. I've been running that. And then that's that bag seed that I was telling you about earlier that I'm running. It's a very good strain and it thrives in my garden, and I'm going to constantly probably run that. And then a couple of new genetics that I'm popping is the Bridezilla from I think that's from Greenpoint, and then a B-Day Funk.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm running right now. So
Interesting.
yeah, I'm going to keep them all around, but yeah, I'm kind of trying to I'm trying to compile my veg room to run what I really want to run, I guess. And I'm just running what I have. If that makes sense, I guess.
Well, yeah, you gotta get through the BS till you find your all-stars.
Yeah, for sure. And I like kind of what I have, but I'm just kind of keeping it perpetual because like I can run a pretty good amount of plants like that. So in Missouri, like I said, you can run 6, 6, and 6. So you have like a seedling, you can run 6 seedlings, and then you can have the 3 patients. So you can times that by 6 every time. So I have 3 patients, so I can run a pretty perpetual setup if I want, which is nice. So I'm trying to get to that. I started with a 4x4, and then I got a 4x8. Now I'm in a 8x8, and then I'm using the rest of them as like my veg and or my other tents to dry, and so I'm working it up. I'm trying to work it up till I get a big grow. I need like a building. I'm looking to buy. I want like some acreage and get a building and just do like an industrial size setup. That's kind of my end goal for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Great tents grow. Yeah, it's a business you need to get into. Ones that grow themselves. That
Yeah.
you have to do clones of your grow room. Just cut a piece off and put it in the corner.
Yeah, I'm just trying.
Keeps growing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I gotta have gotta have good meds for my patients, and then I like smoking good weed, so I'm trying to do the most I can with like not spending like a crazy amount of money. I mean, I got a family, I have bills, and we're in a pandemic still, so it's kind of like one of those balancing acts.
Yeah. No, precisely. Now, when it comes to, there's always a thing, oh, shit, didn't take a cut of this. Damn, really good. Got to re-veg it. What are, you're saying, is it you haven't done it before? It's your first time giving it a go, or?
I've always just kind of thought, I mean, like when I grew and I let it go, once it was in flower, I was kind of like, it's gone. But then I figured out, I mean, I've heard and seen people, they just take cuttings and they will root, and you can re-veg, not having to re-veg the whole plant. You can just re-veg it out of a cup or a 1 gallon or whatever you want. So I'm going to try that. I mean, I could re-veg the whole plant too if I want, because I haven't chopped it down, but I like to keep that around. So I'm just trying anything I really can to keep it around, because I've lost a couple things that I wish I would have kept around. And I'm not trying to spend a bunch of money on genetics. I'm trying to keep the cuts around, and then I want to keep the seeds in my seed. I want to like build an inventory of good seeds so I can keep those. I mean, that's kind of.
So I think, the trick is you'd have the best success with re-vegging the plant as it is, rather than re-vegging a cutting. To take a cutting, expect it to root, and then re-veg, it's a hell of a lot of stress being put on that cut.
Yeah, for sure. I figure, yeah.
But to then take a cutting from the plant as soon as the re-veg gets underway, and it's gone past that like gnarly, and it's going to look as gnarly as all hell.
They really do.
That's fine. I love that plant though. It grew so good. Like I'm so mad that I don't know. Like it was a cut. My friend, he's like, man, I forgot what plant it was. So I had to like wait until the end to like look at it and be like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Cause I only bought 3 different genetics. So I had to kind of pick out of 3. And then like it grew so good. Like, and his didn't grow that good. And then mine was like just beautiful. I mean, it was like, and it was turning like black, like the leaves turn. I've never seen like the leaves turn black in person. That was pretty cool.
So
And it
speaking
was
of taking cuttings, I actually have 2 phenos of banana soft serve in my one tent, and dude, none of them would root. I took cuttings off of them twice, once in veg and then once in early flower because the first set didn't take, and I'm like, maybe that's just karma telling me I'm not allowed to keep this plant around.
something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Do
I
any-
tried
Do
twice.
anything you can, but like, yeah.
I tried taking cuttings twice, but I'm not gonna sit there and like re-veg a plant because I got a bunch of other stuff that I want to run through. Like I
Yeah.
just popped some of the pandemic from Family Tree Seeds. I just popped some of them the other night, so I had some tails poking out, so they went into the dirt yesterday.
Nice. And so Tyler, you were saying with the one that you're popping the stems on, that you're seeing that's kept it shortest of the lot now.
Yep.
And that's all the golden goat, isn't there? All golden
Yep.
goat.
Golden goat. The back left from the last season.
So yeah, if you've got ones that are tall, could very well be a good way of dealing with the problem.
Give it the old pepper mill.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just checking to see on some other chat comments. But I found that the trick with re-vegging, it's got to go into like 24-hour lighting. I think that's the key to the success initially is 24-hour lighting, bump up the nitrogen again it needs, put it back onto like quite a heavy veg nutrient cycle. Not a hot nutrient. I mean, like cut out all the flour additives.
I put it like with my I have like a cloner mix. I just throw it back in there. Like honestly, I throw like, I don't know. I have a success with clones. I just throw them in like a cup. Sometimes they'll root just in a freaking solo cup in my tent. I just throw them in the tent like way underneath, and I'll leave them and like they'll be rooted. So then I'll just throw them in a cup. They won't even make it into my easy cloner. I don't know. I just try to keep cuts going as much as I can. I don't know. So far, that's my method. I don't know. I kind of get a bunch of things going, but that's because I don't have a bunch of good genetics to just pop right now. Otherwise, I would probably do that. So.
Yeah, and as we discussed earlier, when it comes to the consistency for delivery for patients, then you going down cuttings and taking cuts and having that game on is the way to do it.
I at least need like 10 good plants that I know running, like that I know I can get good stuff and then mess with it. Because I would like to, I want to do like a full just water kind of potting soil setup, like what you guys are running, or like how the organic guys, like I want to get into that, but I can't swap over. So I want to do like 1 5-gallon setup and get it going. And then once I learn that method, then I could swap over. But right now, it's consistent because I can't go to a dispensary. And like my patients, like, are like people who need, like, it's my cousin, she's got cancer. She needs like medicine. So I have to get medicine to her, like, and that's the quickest way that I know. So it's like, you can't go, like I say, our dispensaries are just now opening and you can only go get like 8s for $70. That's
ridiculous.
Although it's nice, you can buy weed, like people need to be able to get it still. Like, you should be able to get the RSO and all that. So that's what the medicine is. So.
Yeah. So Dan, that's what you're running there. That's is that living soil or?
Well, yeah, I guess you can call it living soil because it's not no-till. This isn't the no-till bed.
Okay.
These are just 3-gallon pots with like a hot soil mix, and then I'm feeding microbes and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I guess you could just call it like a living soil, but it's not the no-till bed.
Sorry, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, sorry.
No, I can show you the no-till bed if you want to see that.
That's 3 instead of just the normal 1.
Well, yeah, this is actually 3 plants.
Nice, nice. Okay. In fabric pots.
Yeah.
Under what light do you have them under there?
Oh, that's a homemade light that I made a while ago.
Those look like pretty big 5 gallons.
No, they're 3 gallons.
Really? 3? They look pretty big. At the pot sizes, don't tell me. All the pots sizes have to be different sizes because like I'll buy like one brand and then another, and like I swear it takes like way more soil or like I don't know. So I'm trying to make sure that I buy the right sizes or at least have them all the same.
Actually use what's called the number 3 pot. And it's just short of 3 gallons. It's the actual smart pots. It's like
Yeah.
2.8 gallons or something, but it's called the number 3.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
I don't.
That
That
is
actually
something.
says gallons on it there.
Yeah, they ran out, so I had to run 3 that are bigger, and like I swear, like it fucks up the whole watering deal because like they're not ready, or like I'm like, so I have to wait like another day for these 3, and I'm just like, damn it, like
That's where the autopot system would work for you.
yeah,
In terms
for
of that
sure.
consistency of, well, not having to worry about, oh, that one needs to be more watered than that one because it just does it automatically. But any gravity fed, I mean, that is really the
I would like to get
automation
into-
of
I like
irrigation
those.
is like, that saves a lot of time.
They're not that
Yeah,
expensive.
No.
Water's there if you want it or not.
Yeah. And I use the Jax, my nutrients. It's not that gross. It would sit in those lines. I guarantee it wouldn't back up those lines or anything.
And they do a thicker line now, a wider bore line now as well that'll run organics through it. So
That's cool. That's a neat system. Bottom feeding definitely has to work better, right? They say. I mean, feeding from the bottom or getting stuff in the bottom has to be better, right? I mean, it's like
yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely in the. Sorry, Dan, this is the no-till bed one. Yep.
Yeah, this is my no-till bed.
that's just one big. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, that's 2 plants, but yeah, it's in a
In one big bed, yeah.
one giant pot.
That's freaking cool.
Okay. Well, how big is that pot that it's in?
It's 12 inches or 20 inches by 20 inches by 12 inches.
Okay, so 2 by 2, almost 2 feet by 2 feet by a foot.
That's cool.
Nice.
And you're using the blue mat drippers there.
Yeah, that's what you're seeing. Those are the blue mat drippers.
My feeding, I have to use. I got like a big wand, and I have just a garden hose hooked into like a 7-gallon like a fountain pump, and then I use just a big like 30-gallon trash can. That's how I kind of have to do all mine. But I'd love to do like an automated system or.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that's also, I like the idea of the gravity fed ones where there's no timers or electricity or pumps involved, because to me, that's always the downside on automating something like that is you can either flood a room by not turning a pump off or, dry it out completely by not turning the pump on. I think, yeah, I'd much rather be on the side of monitoring the level of moisture levels and giving you a heads up that it's too moist or it's too dry. Then you can go and have a look. Yeah, that's just, yeah.
Well, I don't know how much of a concern this is, but one reason I always try to watch my pumps is because they do tend to harbor microbes and stuff too, depending on if you keep on them or not. So especially in brewing, we really got to watch those pumps.
Well, I was going to comment about my blue mats. One, the nice thing about them is they're gravity fed, so there's no pump. And then 2, I only keep a 2-gallon reservoir because it's such a small system. So even if I do fuck up and flood, it's only 2 gallons. So like it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like shooting yourself with a BB gun.
Yeah.
I'm in the basement, and I did my RO. I have like a drain, thank God, because I've had it overflow a couple of times.
Well, Tyler, tell us how waterproof is
They're really
Yeah.
waterproof. I'll tell you that right now. It held the entire reservoir, not one drop.
Tyler had the fun experience. Well, I mean, you can tell the story. It was your experience.
I set it up, put the reservoir on the inside just for the night. Figured I'll do a leak test. If it does leak a little bit, it'd be in there. Left the outtake fan going, negative pressure, sucked the walls in, tipped that thing right over top, and just flooded everything. Crushed about 4 plants, and what was it, 47 liters, and just
Yeah.
put it in there. A 5x5.
Comes
Yeah.
crashing
Good
down.
times. Good times.
Yeah, that negative pressure.
Faster.
Everyone learns that negative pressure on not having your fan attached or something like that goes down the first time. I think we've all had that happen. Something bad with negative pressure.
Oh, I've had 2 experiences in the same grow with it. Flood and the tent collapsing. It was
Just
good
bad,
times.
yeah. What fan do you use? It's just
AC Infinity.
Yeah, dude, what is up? Those things, everyone that I've seen fire up's done that. My friend has a Gorilla, and we set that up, and it was like, he was like, "Is that gonna be fine?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like that thing might collapse."
I have a can fan on mine, dude.
Like-
And mine does the same thing.
It's like, let's turn that thing down to like 2, maybe. I have to rock mine at 100%. I got a big tent now.
See, yeah, I think the way Tyler's looking, I think that tree is growing out of his head. Painted lady. Certainly. But yeah, that's one of those with the tents coming in on themselves. That's one to watch out for. Yeah, don't underestimate just how much one of those fans will suck your tent in.
I think it was like week 5 or 6 of the grow. So yeah, it would have sucked if I was sleeping and just that late on. Good times. I'd rather my head than the plant.
See, that's what was strange about going to Colorado and going and see people's grows, because again, it's legal. Who cares about this? Carbon filter to get rid of the smell, not negative pressure to try and keep the smell down as well. Positive pressure keeps the bugs out. That's the advantage with positive pressure, because it's just blowing everything out all the time. And suddenly
Makes
to
your
go to
house stink,
grows,
Brad.
yeah, but then
Flush
you see
everything.
them have these huge, the big carbon filters just running as scrubbers, just filtering all the air as it's coming out.
Yeah, I
But that
love
one
the
was
smell.
strange to see, Otherwise, everywhere else you go, it's like serious negative, like pull the door open. Yeah.
So it's the only reason for the negative pressure is the smell, though, right? I mean, you do need good airflow, but that's really technically all that's for. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's kind of what I was figuring.
Yeah, if you really want to try and keep it bug free, positive pressure is the way to do it.
Because I run my air duct. Probably not. I don't know if it's good, but I have good filters in my house, so I think it's fine. I run air through that big tent, like because it gets hot. I just have a duct coming out of my air vent and goes down. You can just buy like at Home Depot to go over like an air duct. And I have that going into my tent, and that creates a positive pressure now. And I kind of wondered if it was gonna.
You do
Do
have to
an
filter
airflow
what's
for,
coming
like-
in, though. So you got to put
It's
a filter.
filtered.
Mm.
I have one of those. I didn't buy the expensive foam one, but I bought like the one that keeps bugs, and then it has like a little carbon insert too, like a filter.
Mm.
But-
Yeah, because that's the one thing that fan's going to suck all the bugs in unless you've got it filtered.
Yeah, no, it's like a screen. It has like a little carbon screen on it, and then it has like a netting on it too, and then you tighten it. Like it's pretty cool. Yeah, I do worry about bugs and all that because like it's in my basement and there's a door and like that's the only thing that bothers me. Like I'm always like, don't open that fucking door. Go out the garage.
Yeah.
Kids are like, why can't I open the door? Like, you don't even need to go down there. Just don't open the fucking basement door. It's locked. It's like boarded up.
I open it for a reason.
Yeah, with my wife's plants. I'll be like, hey, that's got aphids on it. Take that shit outside.
Yeah, my wife trying to bring stuff from other farms and stuff in. I'm like, you ain't bringing that stuff in the house. She was bringing like, it was like the sunflowers. They're taking pictures, and I'm like, yeah, leave that shit here. I'm not gonna spray it down and do that. I'm not gonna be that. I'll be this crazy, but I'm not gonna do that.
Dude, my wife is really bad for that. Like, she's constantly bringing stuff home. Babe, look what I got here. And she just hands it to me, and I'm like, oh God, it's already in the house. How long is this here? It's been sitting on the kitchen table since like 9 a.m. or something like that. And I got home from like work at 6 p.m. I'm like, oh God, get it out.
You start looking for stuff, and like searching shit. Like,
Yeah.
Like I have a table behind me with a couple LED lights on it with like, I have a couple bonsai trees and stuff like that. And the wife brought in a couple plants that she liked from outdoors. And sure enough, dude, they had gnats and all types of shit on them. So now I'm treating them for gnats and whatnot and hoping it doesn't spread elsewhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
do not underestimate the power of these bugs and their
No.
tenacity to hitch a ride on you.
I got the gnats from Mint. She brought the mint. You buy the mint from the store that you buy at like fucking like Walmart. You just, oh, that's cute. We could grow mint like in the window. Like, no, she put that in there and it brought the gnats in my house. And it was like, I didn't catch it for like a week. I didn't think about it. And then like I went down there and I looked at the traps and I was like, oh no, like this isn't good. Like,
Yep.
damn.
I see Devon Shipwreck saying possibly the reason that the ex bought a plant from a grocery store and entire garden got fucked over.
Yep. I tell my wife now all the time. I'm like, listen, keep it in the garage. I was like, I don't care how cold it is out there. Keep it in the freaking garage.
That's where we got everything, the succulents and all that. It's in the corner, like basically outside, but in the garage.
Hey Raptor, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going, everyone? So I'm a little late. I was busy watering the backyard, and then I had to get ready, take a shower, and do all that good stuff. But yeah, good to see you all. How's it going, Dirtman? How's it going, Bag Seed, Pete,
Yeah.
Genetic Memory Farms, Lefty, Schwoop? Good to see you all.
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Just in a bit of a lull in the weather at the moment, but yeah, every now and then it just comes lashing down again.
That's gotta suck.
Not
that
the
time
best
of
time
year,
of
isn't
year.
it?
Yeah, it's not my favorite, not by any means. Just wind it forward. I understand why bears hibernate. It's like, fuck this shit. Wake me up when the weather's good.
I'm going to bed. Wake me up when it's warm out.
Yeah.
I'm ready to snowboard, bro. It's time. It's that time. Snow
Yeah.
on the ground.
Snowboarding and mushroom hunting for me. So it works well for my part of where I live. But yeah, I definitely have I hate peak summer, like where it's the hottest part, because it's just awful. California, I just stay in. Everyone else around me is like, oh, time for the beach. I'm like, nah. The index is at 10. The UV index is at 10. Let's go to the beach. Yeah, I'm good.
That's what's weird about what people don't realize is just how different it is, like the strength of the sun. Comparing it to being in Durban or in South Africa and to the UK. Here, wear sun cream? No, sorry, mate. No, I mean, I grew up over there. The skin's a little hardened to that sort of environment, and I swear it is genetic because, like, my eldest daughter is the same. She doesn't have to wear suntan lotion. She walks through a sunbeam, and it's like ethnicity changed as she comes out the other side of it. It's ridiculous.
That's how it is for me. Like, it literally takes me a day to get a tan.
Yeah, go
It's
back
nothing.
to South Africa, man. If you are out in the sun for half an hour without any sun cream on, you're like, oh, that's burning now. You know, you start to feel it. It's crazy. It's a lot weaker the further north or south you go as well.
Yeah, I can trace my lineage back to more European. So I do get sunburn if I don't watch myself. But yeah, if I'm sure there's indigenous to Mexico because that's where a lot of my family is a lot less lighter than I am. But definitely it's weird to just like and to have two different kinds of shades. Like I have my winter shade and I have my summer shade. It's like I look
You're
I
like a
look
dog.
different.
I got my winter coat and my summer coat.
Yeah, one of those foxes, one of those like really shaggy dogs.
But dude, I get that here. I've had people in the middle of winter and I've been nowhere. It's just been 2 weeks off over Christmas, you know, and you've gone nowhere, you've been at home. My skin tone is naturally, I don't know, from living and growing up in the sun like that, slightly olive sort of skin tone. And you come back after and go, oh, you're tanned. Where have you been? You go, nowhere. I was this tan
Outside.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gardening.
Under the grow lights.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't mean to derail the conversation if there was something going on.
No.
We
All
can,
good.
we
All
can
good.
pick it back up.
So GMF,
That's
how
just
have you gotten on with the second cob then? Has that your final sort of
spicy one?
analysis on the two?
Oh yeah. Well, I honestly just let this one cure for a little while. I just wanted to make sure it was indeed shelf stable, so I didn't like go through and rip through the rest of it. And as you can see, like right now, you still got a lot of stem and stuff like that to deal with when you pack it the traditional way. And I'm not a fan of running that stem through the grinder. So when I go to smoke it, I've been picking the buds actually off it. And now I've got a pile of these fermented stems I'll probably put in the wine experiment I'm going to do. And then like the leaves that I had packed into a layer to make it easier to take in and out, I unfolded them as well. And I've noticed they've got a very like, you notice I can move them, I can do it, and they don't rip. So they've got a very paper-like consistency once they've been through fermentation. So just being a dorky chef that I am, I'll probably do this next as a deconstruction. So instead of packing it like they have it, I will actually separate it all while it's fresh and layer it to give it the ability to go through the fermentation process with all the necessary components, but make it easier for me to separate and deal with at the end. So, so far it's good. I have to keep myself out of it because that's the last of the weed that's left in it. So, so I'm trying to just see how long it'll keep for. But you can see like it's basically brickweed. You know, we figured out how to make brickweed.
But with
And then here's the original. I'm still sitting
more
on a tiny
interesting
bit of
effect.
This I'm savoring. And again, it looks like crap, but man, is it just well worth smoking, to be honest.
That was the first one. That was the first one you did.
Yep, that's PCK by Superdog. That's the same thing I'm smoking fresh right now, but in a cob. So I've got to try them side by side.
Swag look like that, but I still used to get ripped. I used to smoke swag when I started. Don't tell me you didn't get super stoned.
Fuck yeah.
Right.
Props to the Brits that still smelled like diesel fuel and the tires they were shipped in. You know, that shit happened.
I bet, yeah, it's probably a bunch of other stuff, right?
So,
hey, Keith.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to try that cob. I probably have to try to make that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I'm still kind of working on figuring out all the knobs. Part of the problem is in my state, I'm legal, but we're very new. So there's no testing or anything like that available to me as a home grower. So right now, I'm kind of having to do complete sensory analysis. Whereas if I had, kind of like brewing beer, if I had a way to analyze my ferments, I could dial in all the knobs. Like I noticed about a 0.5 point pH difference between the two when I dried it a little bit before starting the cob. So just trying to take the anecdotal things that I heard from Pete that, yeah, they would chop it down fresh, or sometimes it would sit for a little bit or whatever. So I'm kind of trying to go through the different methods to figure out, okay, why is this working and what are the different knobs in the ferment? You know, where can I control it and what can I do? Like, so the second one I did half the time on the secondary ferment. The primary ferment still 24 hours, but the secondary ferment, I went for 3.5 days as opposed to 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I see
Cool.
kind of Crat and Chat was wanting a quick cliff notes on the cob. I don't know. I mean, that was kind of close to it, but in terms of the
Procedure?
I guess the abridged procedure process was pretty quick and
Yeah. So you take a little jar like this, right? This is the jar you're going to make and seal it in. It's kind of convenient. So I line the bottom with leaves and the top with leaves, so it came out easier, but you probably can do it however you want. If you're just willing to stab it with a butter knife, you can just cram it in there. You don't have to be that precise about it. Fill it up, and then I literally put it in this little vise with these little rubber feet on it, and I have 2 little wooden bungs. Actually, I put them away. I don't have them handy, but they're just 2 little pieces of wood. One sits on the bottom, so the glass isn't on metal, and it has a nice little soft, and the one is up here. The bung I use to squish the weed into the jar, and then the ring. Nice thing about using these jars, you can be squishing it with the lid on it and have the ring riding up here. So you can get it really low, get it compacted, and then when it's at the right point, when you've got it really squished, you can seal the ring. And that's what gives you a really tight pack. Now,
That's
I'm
awesome.
not convinced it has to be that tight a pack. So the second one, I ran like 8 less grams in it, and it seems to work either way. I think the trick is, if you're doing a sealed environment, you can just put it in here. I don't even know that it has to be brick. So that's going to be the next experiment, is to see if I can just ferment it and make it look pretty. Like, so it'll be a whole bud, but still look brown and weird.
Just put a bunch of nugs in there and cram them in there instead of like the rest kind of deal. Or?
Stems
Yeah.
and all. Like, according
Yeah.
to Pete, and I think
Oh,
that's
just-
necessary
Yeah.
for the moisture. You need
Okay.
that moisture content, because what'll happen is you'll do it for 24 hours at 40 degrees Celsius, pull it out, and then you're going to open it and squish the water out. And the first one, I did 75 grams, and I took out about 29 grams of water. So I had 75 grams fresh, and then it squished out an ounce of water. That water hit a pH of about 5, right? Now, Lactobacillus plantarum, when put in a beer wort, can hit 3.5 to 4 within 18 hours. So this is definitely some sort of acidic ferment, because I don't think it's going to have that pH. I mean, I guess it'd be hard to test otherwise, but the other one only dropped the first one dropped to 4.5. The second one only dropped to 5.
so then
Go ahead.
just to wrap that process up, then kind of Crat, the rest of it is after it's been squished, sealed, it then gets kept at 40 degrees Celsius for 24 hours.
Yes, that's the first one.
It's then
and then
gets
after 24 hours, the
popped
water comes out.
open, sweated,
Mhm.
and then resealed, and then kept at 30 degrees Celsius for 7 days,
A week.
ideally. And then it can be popped again, sweated out if there's any extra moisture on it, and then sealed and left alone. You
There
can then
will be.
use it straight away, or leave it alone
Yeah.
for as long as you want, I guess. Keep an eye on it.
You can chew it straight out of there. Like, as soon as the secondary ferment is done, you can eat it, you can drink, you can do whatever you want. It's a little hard to burn in a bong or something like that. But if you give it just a little time to air dry, I have to remind my buyers now for 24 hours, and then it makes perfect joints, and they burn super even, super smooth. I was very impressed by just not only, and the high is very interesting because it'll punch right through whatever you're already stoned on. So I could already be stoned on the same weed fresh, but as soon as I smoke it fermented, it's a completely different change of feeling. It like cuts through whatever you're already stoned on, which is really weird.
DMF, I'd just like to add that it's obvious to you, but this was all possible through the sous vide that you have.
Yeah, I use the circulator from Polyscience, but you can use any sous vide machine, and you don't even have to use a sous vide machine if you're actually willing to get a thermometer, kind of like candy making. If you're willing to sit there and watch the temperatures, you could even do this on a stovetop. You could do it on a fire out in the woods. You could do this anywhere. It doesn't matter.
I see people use So if you take seedlings or some of those heating trays, they've got that heating mat, and that'll get to like 40 degrees. They'll have a thermostat on it, and then you can put it inside that, wrap it up in that. Or in an airing cupboard that where your boiler happens to be, that is quite often at a constant 40 degrees, whatever the temperature can be. You can get it kind of locked in. Because the other way you see people do it was with vacuum seal packs and vacuum sealing it up. So there are a number of different techniques in the traditional ways, cob and bury it in the ground.
I'm just doing
Good
it
luck.
this way because A, I have a sous vide machine. B, I'm used to doing fermentation, so I can use this to control it. And C, it lets me create something I can pasteurize if I want to. Part of this process is that if I ever wanted to do something else with it as a sealed thing, I can actually do a lot more to it just by manipulating its environment. I mean, it's now basically I can kill anything that's in here just through exposure if I want to.
Wonder how that would press, like in a dab press. Like if you press Malawi cob.
Good question.
Like, dude, like what if you press
I wanna know.
that? Like,
I
yeah,
keep
I know.
bringing this up, but Pete, the purist. No, don't you dare to change my Durban tradition. But
No,
So
I
no,
mean,
guys,
what
well,
it's
but I was
definitely
like,
an interesting question.
I mean, I was
Okay.
thinking it's already I kind of like
It's already perfect. I
what-
agree.
Well, no, it's
I
already
know,
processed.
like-
I think what GMF's doing with the kombucha there, with it in, is that what you've got in the tea bag?
Yeah, so there's
Yeah,
one
now
there's not
that
cob
to
in the
me
tea bag.
is,
I'm
hey,
doing
Cool.
a control first. I'm waiting to see if this fermentation right here that it's going through with the acetobacter is going to cob this.
okay.
So
Well, I
I'm
was
seeing
wondering
I
if
can do basically a similar ferment, but do it in a liquid basis.
See, I think now adding it
So
into,
haven't put cob in here yet.
It just changes the whole like edible game too, like the taste and I mean.
and if you happen to be somewhere where drying and curing is a problem in terms of you've got high humidity and you're trying to keep the smell down, this takes care of that problem for you. Okay, you're not doing it for bag appeal, but then as I always say, you're not smoking it for bag appeal either. You're smoking it for the effect. So here you could be living in 100% humidity environment and you have dried cured weed in 10 days.
Be good for like Florida
Yeah.
and like here it gets like humidity here gets high too, like that.
And stored in nice little glass jars that are already sealed, so you have no smell, and your storage and that was what 20, and the final product is 26 grams in there, but it started off as 75 grams of pure plant material.
Yeah, and think of let's say you're running perpetual and you're running out of space, your dry space, like how to process everything. That might be your bumper crop in there to always have something going, and you could at least do half, and then you can have space or whatever whatever ratio that will
And what'll happen
determine,
is a jar will be forgotten. It gets kicked behind a box or something. It'll sit there for years, and somebody will stumble across this little jar of what looks like, what the hell is this, and crack it open. and
EMF's
just be like,
first cob.
wow.
Yeah.
And the Jumanji noise, like
Yeah.
And I think that like I
73
completely agree
cup.
with you. Yeah, there's a huge advantage in that if you're A, running out of space, if you're B, somewhere where you don't have a lot of room to operate, this can be something where you're out of drying space. What do you do with the rest of it? Don't just cob it to get it done. Or like me, I'm going to do it just to have variety, just to be able to try the same thing 2 different ways. You know what I mean? For me, being so limited on plant count, I'm always very limited on my selection. That's just my problem. But whatever, I'll cry about it later. But so this is just a really nice way to get more variety, because it does feel and taste very different. Now, it intensifies a lot of the flavors that are already present. It seems, my guess is, my anecdotal evidence, my non-scientific, again, because I don't have any lab to work with, but my non-scientific evidence is that I'm creating more phenols and I'm creating more esters. So if it's fruity, it kind of gets like really ripe fruit. If it was spicy, it gets literally like peppery spicy. It's pretty crazy.
Nice. I'm so jealous. I really am.
You don't have to be. You can make some.
Well,
I'll have to
that
get my
goes-
cousin Trip to make some. Yeah.
Well, that goes into guess what's coming up that time of year. Like, I don't like the commercialism side of it, but if you can save a couple bucks, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that's when I'm buying my lights. Like, and that's coming up pretty soon. And I'm sure Black Sale Market has some pretty good deals coming up for everyone. But yeah, check out those sous vide markdowns, those 25%, 10% markdowns.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
on
man,
vacuum seal, glass jars, everything you need. Sorry,
need to
go
get
ahead,
me
Keith.
off my spider farmers. I need to get some good lights. Like, you know.
There
Use
we
them
go.
too?
Yeah, Black Friday might be a good time to take care of that over at blacksalemarket.com. I'm going to be doing the biggest discount I've ever done. So
Awesome.
yeah.
You know, I
Everyone's
need
gonna hate me.
to say that.
10% extra on. Yeah. Trying times and all that. Oh, I see there. Chris is offering to pay
Thanks, Chris.
50% of everybody's who buys a Canon. How nice. Go, Chris. Obviously, his patent on that dot came through.
Ganja.
Wait, Chris Mertz is offering to pay half of everyone's bill? Dude, I'm getting like 10 of these things.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. You're saying he's playing it half off. So I'm assuming that's what he meant. I mean, isn't that how everybody else reads that?
I just happened
That
to
or he's
lease
just
a
half naked.
warehouse.
That or
What
he's
a
just half
coincidence.
naked. Yeah.
Put it on
So
his
here's
tab.
one thing. If you guys want to see this, is kind of weird. So it started, the acetobacter is hanging out on the string. Like you can see that kind of piece of snot in there. That's just hanging out on the string. Like the bag is getting colonized with the acetobacter.
Mhm.
So just a little unusual, not what I would have expected. They always talk about having antimicrobial properties, but the bag actually looks like it's got the snot-like acetobacter hanging off it. Here, I'll see if I can get to, and it's starting to go that brownish color that's not quite, doesn't look like weed anymore.
So
I'm
GMF,
interested to try a piece of
was it the
cobbing.
process that made it I see that it's like creased inward, like smashed inward. Was
Oh,
that you, or was that
yeah.
a process
No.
it's going through?
I did that first, right? You see that little bit of air right there in the neck? That
Yeah,
is being
headspace,
made
yeah.
by the micro. Well, originally there was none.
Mm.
So I squished it out, so there was no headspace, and so now it's building gas in there, and it'll slowly fill the bottle back out. Once the bottle's filled back out, it's carbonated and ready to drink. So, and like this one, you saw me shaking it. I'm trying to speed it along. This one's a control, so it's got no tea bag in it, but I'm just speeding it along by putting air in it and shaking it up. So I'm seeing how many days difference it's going to be between the two. So this
And
one
again,
in this
this
case is my,
is
this is Kool-Aid with Eagles kombucha starter that I made on his show. So I put that in with some generic Kool-Aid pack that I bought from Aldi. So it had no preservative in it. Everything in it was consumable by microorganisms. And they actually will eat the red dye number 4 and all that stuff too. They'll make it go lighter in color. So they'll start breaking that down too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They break down caramel color. They break down everything eventually.
So Keith,
Bugs are strong.
have you chopped down the orange gas? Has that come down now? Has it?
It has come down. I chopped it at 70 days.
Mm-hmm.
She was definitely ready to go, and my veg tent is kind of turning into the Congo. Like Jane Goodall is living in there, I think, under my canopy with a family of chimps, but I wouldn't know because I can't fucking see through it. So I had to chop her down at day 70. She was definitely ready to go, but you guys were absolutely right, man. I would have actually liked, if I could have, I would have given it another week or so just to see what she did. Because, I mean, she was still bulking up and ripening and just getting better and better every day. I was like, fuck, man, I hate to chop it down right now, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
for the good of the cause.
I've heard Jeff say that on a couple of his like his strain reviews and stuff like that. He actually tells people like, dude, don't just chop these down at 65 days. It seems like a lot of his strains seem to do a lot better the longer you let them go. And I
Yeah.
can personally tell you my Raphael goes 70 to 75 days.
Well, that was part of the idea behind on season 3, was to see, you know, compare it to what it says on the back of the packet, and then Tyler just happened to keep one going and going and going. Went out to what, 80 days.
80 days even.
They were just another 10 days. I mean, it's not that much longer.
I went 75, and I easily could have went another week with all of mine. So
Yeah, once it's gone that long, you sort of go, what's another 10 days? But yeah, when you've got something else that's going, May, another 10 days, you sure?
you'll see why. You'll see why here in a minute you do that.
Yeah.
These girls want to get into the club right now. Kick these girls out.
Listen,
There's
they're
room.
drunk. They're drunk. Get them out of here. We want
Yeah, get these girls out. They don't want to leave.
Yeah, no, they're going to see what's happening in chat. When did you chop down your double dragons, Raptor? Oh, he's disappeared. Shows how much attention I'm paying to that part of the screen.
I just saw Dave Martin. He mentioned in chat that he juiced a male plant today, and he added apple and a couple handful of grapes. And it sounds fantastic. We've been kicking around the idea of making a cob out of a male plant.
Mm.
Still not sure how that's going to go. If anybody has any tips in chat, feel free to weigh in.
Well, is there
It's
enough
weird.
cannabinoids in a male plant to even like make it worth it?
Mm.
We're gonna find out.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know.
I think possibly maybe as from the edible side, I think that's where it could be quite interesting, consuming in that, because yeah, you can consume a lot more in terms of, rather than trying to smoke, 5 grams of it, grinding up 5 grams and adding it to a meal is nothing.
The whole dosing, everyone takes a complete different amount that fucks them up. Like some people take it and they're like, I will never take an edible again. And they only took so many. I'm like, damn, I'm sorry. I don't know. I do that for breakfast. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, well, all right.
I don't.
Well, you're really going to notice the acid in your coffee then, mate.
It's fun. I do. I put tincture every morning in my coffee. I like it. But I don't know. People need to know to start it slow. Otherwise it's man, yeah, you have a bad time and they're just done with the edible thing.
And I mean, also there's the potential of cannabinoids coming from the male chromosome that you just never ever have come across or experienced because you only ever smoke flower.
Mr. Bagseed, is that Christmas tree still up from last year, or did you
Yeah. No, my
just
wife's
jump
crazy.
on it, man?
My wife's crazy. The house is already decorated, man. Yeah. I won't go down that road. Yeah. I'm just hanging out down in my little area. I get here in my grow area, and I guess I get a Christmas tree. So I wanted to bring one of mine up and just put decorations on it.
I'm down in the morning. Santa's caught up in the tree,
Put
sitting around with all the elves. Yeah, man.
Put a grow light. Put a grow light above something and have it growing. Yeah.
All these other pissed off kids in the neighborhood without any presents. Yeah, because he stopped over at that house and got fucked up.
Santa stopped at Mr. Bagseed and forgot what time it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is what they mean when they say, think about the children. It's yeah, because with legal weed, Santa ain't making it past maybe house number 3.
And COVID's been rough. You never know. He might need to just chill out,
Is that what you're telling the kids now?
You probably got the elves, probably got COVID. It's probably rough even in the North Pole. So
Quarantine.
Well, technically, aren't they under year-long quarantine? They only come out once a year.
Yeah, they probably haven't got it.
But that's the kind of bullshit that my mom had to put up with, and she's like sailing solo. I have been at sea for God knows how long, and then they go, "Oh yeah, no, you need a quarantine when you get here." It's like, but I've been solo on a boat in the middle of the Pacific for X number of weeks.
It's y'all. It's everybody else.
Yeah, you fucking got a quarantine before you get on my boat. It's not the other way around. You know.
She caught it from the fish. Obviously, all around her. The dolphins, notoriously.
Yeah, you got to watch
dirty
out for that
fucks.
dolphin
Yeah.
flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is like around Portugal and the English Channel, around this neck of the woods, there's this little pod of orcas, killer whales, that have started becoming a little aggressive towards boats and things. So it's becoming like, dude, people are like, yeah, they look cute until they've been bashing into the boat for 45 minutes and sort of, you realize if you fall in, if they finally figure out how to make a hole in this thing, you're fucked.
The ocean is so scary. You do not want to fuck with the ocean.
Oh man, absolutely. There's shit down there with teeth.
Yeah.
I was wondering when the whales were gonna finally figure it out and just start attacking every person they see. It's like, finally, man, fuck.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's where life started. So they got way more evolutionary time to work with everything than we did.
When you see some of those deep sea, and especially now that we've got so many more cameras and things down there, I mean, considering we know more about space than we know about the ocean, especially the deep parts of the ocean, and suddenly all these cameras and the shit that they're capturing, and it's a shark. So, and they go, yes, it's 23 meters long. You're like, ooh, okay. So it's a really big fucking shark. Thank God it can only survive down there.
Is the pressure. Up in space, it's the vacuum, but over down there, it's the fucking pressure. Like, holy shit! Like, the fact that it can crush submarines like a fucking soda can. Nothing, just into this dense little mass. It's like, ooh, and it just keeps getting worse. Yeah,
that glass dome capsule one that they go down in, that goes all the way down. I mean, imagine you want to be the prick on that one who has a recording of the sound of glass cracking and just play that to watch people shit themselves.
That's fun,
I used to fucking surf, man. Do not treat it with respect. The ocean needs to be treated with respect. But yeah, it's I've stopped surfing just because I was like, I'm good. Just constantly facing death every time I'm going out there.
But like in Durban, I was out one day not knowing what the sound for the shark warning was. But paddling out and sitting there, next minute you hear this siren thing go off and go, all right, don't know what that was. Nobody moved. None of the surfers moved. Everybody stayed where they were. So, okay, what the fuck? And then this, sorry, the shark warning, that's a false alarm. I'm like, what? And none of you fuckers moved. It's like, you're taking the piss.
Have any of you guys seen the documentary for the people that explored the Marianas Trench?
No.
They built a submarine that can actually go to the fucking Marianas Trench now. And there's a whole documentary on it. If I seen it on Netflix, it was pretty fucking wild.
That's right. They went down there and they found a bunch of garbage, right?
Dude, they found a bunch of crazy shit down there, yeah. But there was in their testing phases, there was a guy that had to ride in that thing to see how far down it would freaking go, right? And on the way down, on one of the attempts, the one of the bubbles that you look out of actually did crack, and he was like, "Oh, you know what I mean? Like walnuts in your throat."
Dude, when that goes,
becomes a floating toilet.
Yeah, when that goes, the whole thing, as Raptor was saying, it just goes like you just a little jam in a can.
Less than a second. A fraction of a second. Just. That's so yeah, I would be like, oh, I'm
Last
done.
thing to go
I'm
through
done.
your mind is everything.
Yeah.
As it all just
Literally.
crashes through. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing to go through your mind is the hull of your fucking submarine.
Yeah. As it chases your ass through the back of your head. Oh man, that's the bit that scares me.
It is a pretty wild documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. And it's like it's not a typical looking submarine either. Like it's like it's all vertical. So because like they need the propulsion system to keep pushing them down, not to go forward and backward. They need to go down. So like it's a really odd looking shaped submarine.
Mm. Oh. Yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
really weird, creepy shit. There's so there's that one. There's a fantastic plot that do that free diving, and they just do those videos on. I mean, you'll see them on YouTube, but where I think they're stringing them together to make it into like this continuous sequence. But this incredible free dive and these most amazing places underwater that they shoot them in. I can't remember the name of them now. It's a typical stoner thing to do it that way. Hey, this thing I can't describe properly. Go look it up.
Dude, Painted Lady just mentioned my octopus teacher in chat, and I've been meaning to bring it up ever since this conversation started. It's really fucking cool. It's this weird South African dude. So Pete, I'm sure you can relate. And he just starts free diving every day, and he makes
that, you
friends
weirdo.
with this little octopus. And you wouldn't believe how smart these things are, man. It's fucking crazy, like the stuff this thing does. And it starts to like hang out with him and like give him hugs and shit when he swims up.
You see,
Yeah, they can, like,
we're all thinking it's giving hugs. All it's doing is going, one day, mate, one day.
Sizing you
Gonna
up.
get
That's all
you." Yeah. Oh, look at that. Those Buchanans.
The Shrine O Black Sail.
Sure.
Damn, Lefty looking good. It's a jungle in there.
Be careful, Tarzan fucking swings out, man.
Yeah. Into the jungle.
Do,
Under.
do I hear apes?
Hey, what's up, dude, man? I'm Tyler, Black Seal, Raptor, GMS, Bagsu.
Duckweed.
That-
What
that-
up?
That's
Good to see you, Duckweed.
Oh, dude, you're space.
Yep.
And how long have they been in flower for now?
2 weeks.
Okay, so another week of stretching kind of left, really. It's like the
Yep.
first 3 weeks, yeah.
Sorry. Oh.
Wow.
One
Good
has
look-
some huge
looking,
leaves.
Lefty.
Yeah,
Those
beautiful, man.
These things are nuts, dude.
Look at the
No,
size
you-
of that leaf.
These are now all in New Millennium nutrients again?
The Operation Grow plants are.
Yeah.
I run nectar for the gods on my other stuff.
Definitely got them more dialed in this time. The nutrient side of it, that's for sure. And for anybody wondering, those are the autopots. Actually, where's the reservoir that they connect? Have you got them hooked up there? Hey, Lefty, is it, you don't have them hooked up?
No. Nope, they're just in a trace.
No, you said they're 2 weeks into flower, right?
Yep.
Is that, in your opinion, I know Dan was talking earlier about having to take a couple clones from a veg and a flower to try to save one that he wanted to keep, and it couldn't root. Would you take cuts from that right now, or is that too late in the flower, in your opinion?
I would take bottom cuts off them at this point still.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I do top, but I think I do bottoms.
Up to about day 21 into flower, you've got a pretty good success rate at that point. Beyond that, it starts to get sketchy if you take cuttings.
Start praying.
Well, I like Dan have had a particular cut or two that just don't like to root as much as others. That's one reason I like to play with that deep chunk is because it'll literally root in a glass of water. It doesn't care. It wants so. I was just wondering, like, and Dan, did you end up doing anything? Like, did you have anything to do, or did you just have to let that cut go?
No, I mean, that's what I got in flower right now. I mean, I could possibly try and take more, but I'm just not entirely concerned with it. I would just wound up popping more seeds of something else that I want to try.
Hey, Tyler, before you duck out, buddy, where can everybody find you? And thanks for joining in again, as always.
On Facebook and Cannabis, it's The Growing Buds, and on Instagram, it's Shwoobidoo.
Excellent, dude. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers,
once
guys.
again. Go
Take it
feed
easy.
go feed the masses.
Oh yeah. Take
Later,
care, guys.
Tyler.
Yeah, but did you say Scooby Doo on Instagram?
Shwoobidoo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just to add on to the conversation we were having before, sorry, I was grabbing some water when that happened. I took my double dragon to over 70 days and definitely love the smell. I don't know. I left one of my jars unmarked, so that's the one I was testing out to see if I can pick it out, but I was calling that one double dragon. So I actually grew a couple of them. So it might have been one of the three, but I'm definitely getting a lot of different flavors off of this. The like lemony, minty definitely comes out. Like I was trying to get it on the other one on that mystery jar, but I just couldn't. I was like, oh man. So I would always describe what Jeff was saying. But when I was getting the flavors, like yeah, it was much different. But anyways, back to the whole point of it was it looks delicious. I love the smell of this thing.
Not to change the subject, but is that black glass or is that like amber glass? That's a cool jar. Yeah,
for this is for my like. Oh, okay. This is called Herb Preserve. I actually picked it off of.
That's cool. Just like a black glass.
Yeah, 710 or not 7. What am I thinking? High Times. Actually, I bought that from one of their ads, and I really liked it. And yeah, it's just straight up black. Like there's
no light.
Some light can get through, but it actually lets in a little bit of light.
Yeah, but
like
way better than having like
the
glass
amber
jars.
Yeah, I'm actually still looking for amber, and shout out.
If you go to
Res.
like the amber glass, because when I was doing chili sauces, actually, like the amber bottles were quite common ones that you could find.
They used to be everywhere.
Yeah, medical or not? Well, not medical, but chemistry and scientific glass suppliers are the places to go for that, because they've got to keep chemicals in those glass so that they don't react to. They have all the UV filtering in them, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, so it's even better. Yeah, because amber isn't necessarily UV protection. It's just blocking out more light instead of just clear glass.
Don't hold me on the UV side of it.
I never even knew any of that stuff, like the terpene. Like I used to just buy weed, and like I didn't know. I used to have that stuff just laying out in the sun. Like, you never think about it. So now you grow it, and you're like, yeah, that'll just definitely degrade the terpenes.
There's another reason for leaving all those little sugar leaves on that wrap around the bud, is that they add an extra layer of light protection.
Yep.
Let the light hit the leaves on the outside.
I actually had that epiphany the other day. I was like, because I got some buds of sample buds. I just left them because usually I wet trim because I find dry trimming to be a pain in the ass. But yeah, I left that set on, and I was like, maybe these are, because when I was looking at it, how they actually cut around the bud and like
Yeah.
basically like protected sort of, you know.
Yeah, and it keeps all the trichomes that dry on it stay all neatly kept up, and you break it open. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like a little present each time you break one open. Like, ooh, what's
yeah.
inside?
As soon as you clip that fan leaf off, it's like, oh.
Yeah,
I
no,
like doing go ahead. Whoever
I was just going to say, I usually trim off all the bigger fan leaves, anything with a big, long stem. As I'm chopping my plants down, I'll trim off the bigger leaves before I hang them up to dry. And just kind of as an experiment, I left one plant with everything it had on it at harvest. And I'm just going to see if that one dries. I'm assuming it's going to dry a little slower. Maybe it'll cure up a little better. We'll see.
My cousin Trip just did that with their harvest and just went for the whole, oh, fuck it, just clip it
Top
and
or
just hang it
dry.
up.
Well, it
Clip
helps
it
in
and
the
hang
process.
the whole thing.
It does help in the process. Like, I mean, it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
do you want it to
I-
take forever and trim a lot, or do you? I mean, it goes,
It
I came
certainly
up with the
slowed down the
idea
dry
for-
process.
Yeah, I came up with the idea for this experiment after I had been fucking hanging plants for like 6 hours. I was like, maybe for science, I'll just leave all the fucking leaves on this one and see what
that would
happens.
be badass. I know, right? That's how it is. I know.
Maybe what
one-
might turn out, sorry, Dagby, but what might turn out for like season 4's results is doing nothing to the plant, leaving it alone so that you don't waste time on super cropping it and trimming it and doing all this shit, and then just whole hanging it when it's finished, just cut it off at the base and flip the bitch and wait until it's dry is the best way of doing it.
I actually
I'll start plucking off all them fan leaves, just day by day. I'll just start taking them off to where
Yeah.
and there's hardly anything really left.
Sorry, Duckweed, go ahead.
yeah. So once I actually fucking trimmed the plant before I cut it. Like 2 days before I decided I was gonna chop, I went in and fucking trimmed that bitch up and just chopped and hang.
A handy tip for being able to do that quickly is for getting all the big fan leaves off is water it, give it a good watering, wait like half an hour, 45 minutes for it to really get all that water up. So all the leaves are ready, it's really turgid, and then they just snap off. And then you can just go through the plant and just like the day before you're going to chop it down, you could then just go through and just pluck off all those leaves. Or you could do it like 4 or 5 days beforehand, especially if you're growing in cocoa, and then just not water it again. So it's almost starting to dry on the plant at that point.
I realized that I need to keep as much moisture as I could in the plant to get a decent dry period. Because the climate I'm in, if I just hang that whole plant upside down within like 4 days, that's dry. And no bueno. It just smells like fucking hay throughout the whole, no matter what you try to do with it after that.
Oh, Kratky grows. Sorry, I just see this thing Dave Martin saying that dark amber mason jars seem to work okay. Didn't get any algae on a couple. Kratky grows. Now, is that a typo or is that actually something and I don't know what he's talking about? Or a combination of the two? Right now, having just finished off that tequila, that's quite possible.
Tequila.
Yeah, I don't know if
Hey,
you've heard
420
earlier.
somewhere. Sorry?
Yeah, 421. Light 'em up.
420.
But yeah,
I'll pack a bong to that.
Hey.
I don't know if you heard before, but I wasn't feeling all that great. And I actually, oh yeah, you were. I even mentioned, oh, you be proud, Pete. I had tequila to solve my issues. But yeah, it's basically like a Mexican cough syrup, and I just boiled up some cinnamon tea sticks, and I let that go for a couple of days. But as I was letting it go, I would take some and refill it, and take some and refill it. And yeah, it was really good. That cinnamon tea with honey, lime, and like a shot of tequila in it, and you just drink it down. It actually helped me out a lot.
Mm.
Obviously, rest is important, but yeah, that helped me
Definitely the
like chill
tequila.
out. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Wouldn't be the same without it. I'm really disappointed this bottle's
it really
finished.
wouldn't.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's like I'm looking at it now going, damn, I could have made that last just a little bit longer. But it was made to be drunk.
Exactly.
I can recommend this. Can I get it to show up properly? The G4. And so far the extra añejo and the añejo are really good. And at the price point that these come in at, incredibly good. I haven't had another one
I
that's
heard if you
as good as that.
you squeeze those tequila bottles, you get more out of them at the end.
I've tried. They lie. But what
Need
you
a
can do
rosin
is
tequila press.
you can sniffle the bottles and go, oh yes, I remember that one. I mean, and that's just it. I mean, every single one of them has a totally different nose to them.
So Pete, I just looked up Kratky. It's a growing method.
Yeah, it's like hydroponics, but like poor man's hydroponics, you refer to it as.
Yeah.
Because you don't need any air stones or anything, basically. So
Yeah,
what you
very
do
cool.
is,
Okay, yeah.
you basically same jar method, but you leave a air gap between the roots and the water. And
Oh, like a hempy. Is it similar to hempy or a sip bucket style setup?
So it's saying here on this website that you grow it, the plant's like sitting on a raft, and basically you fill up one big reservoir and you never empty it or change it or anything, and just the roots just keep growing down as they keep drinking and the water level keeps getting lower.
Okay.
Yeah, I
always
believe
air.
Tricky D was messing around with that. He was full no-till and everything. I'm sure he still does that, but I think he was just experimenting, and he did exactly that. He got styrofoam, and he got one of those drain tables for like that they use in like drained waste. And yeah, he was just floating lettuce on that.
Well, I'm about to say
Like
they
lift it
do
up and
that
show it. Huh?
in Holland. They do continuous lettuce growing in that particular style. So what they do is they drop them in on the one end, and it's like a football pitch. So they get dropped in on one end, and they just naturally float. And they, as one gets lifted out the one end, another one gets dropped in at the far end. So it's just this conveyor belt effect. And it takes them as long to get from one end to the other end to grow to maturity. So they just get plucked out constantly out that far side, and another one just gets dropped in, and they're all just floating in styrofoam belts, essentially, that just go along. It's
Underwater
amazing.
in solution.
No humans involved, just machines just picking these things up and shifting them. I think the only place where they had humans was putting the cuttings into the plugs to go into the styrofoam floats.
Yeah, because it's so delicate that we haven't
So then that's
developed the
been solved.
technology at that scale. Yeah, exactly.
But it was like, well, what else do you need? There's nothing
I
for
think
someone to do.
the only downside to that Kratky thing is the size of your container. Because as soon as the roots start to outgrow that, you're gonna have to either use a bigger container or add some air stone. But I guess that's the whole idea of being off the grid, right? It's like an off the grid setup, sort of.
Yeah, I guess the next closest thing to, when you throw an air stone in there, now you're getting into, I mean, it's DWC. It's poor man's DWC, I guess, in that sense. It's the air stone.
Okay.
Sorry?
I say, or some sort of water culture. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily need to be DWC.
Well, in terms of it sitting in a bucket, it's not like NFT where it's that nutrient film just constantly flowing over it. Or like the aquaponics side of things. Oh, but that's more just feeding them. I mean, do they actually have do you grow plants in? Oh, actually, could you float plants over a fish tank? In that
Absolutely,
style?
they do it all the time. Absolutely. I've seen
I had
it.
a
Yeah.
buddy. Yeah, he was floating some marijuana plants on like a thin sheet of styrofoam in his tilapia pond where he does aquaponics. And yeah, they were doing pretty fine, but just to me, I find the plants they didn't look as healthy or vigorous as they would have looked, or as I'm used to seeing them in like soil or something like that. And I think
You're
that's
going to
just
have to
maybe
support them a lot more because they don't
Yeah.
have that base to keep them stable. So when they grow, they're going to, I guess it's that natural they can feel themselves on in a stable environment. So they're not going to try and get too big, I guess, is part of the catch, which is why it works really well for lettuce. It's only this high, but it would be great to have somebody like, well, Dave, if you ever want to jump on Dave Martin and chat there, if you reach out, if you want to come on and tell people how you do it, that'd be great. It's not a technique I know much about. It would be interesting to hear more.
Always interested in hearing about stuff I've never seen before. That is awesome.
Yeah, Dave, I always see him around in chat. So yeah, seems like a pretty cool guy. Same kind of what's the term?
Dave not here.
Humor is us. Yeah, Dave's not here. The exact same humor as us.
Well, this is Dave Martin, and then you got Dave's not here.
Oh, Dave
so
Martin.
you got
Okay.
two Daves. So Dave is definitely here.
Sorry, Dave. We meant Dave.
Not you, Dave. Dave.
So there's that little chunk cleaned up. I'll show you what it breaks up to. It's kind of ridiculous. Like that little bit of brick will fluff up to a shitload.
I like your.
Because it's so compact. I mean, that's again, as I was mentioning, that's part of the catch with the thing is people go, "Oh, it's so strong," and say, "Well, hang on, you've taken it's this little blip of a piece is an eighth. You've got to realize it's suddenly quite a lot that you're consuming."
Keith, are your lights like one size, or do you have like different sizes of lights, and like what's the like veg footprint, flower footprint, or what?
Yeah, man. So I have one light so far.
Be back in a second.
It's the 320 watt Canon. It is dimmable. You can dim it down to about 150 watts. So it's really flexible in that regard. The recommended coverage area for a single Canon, I say it covers a 3x3 or a 2x4. But that's to put you in like the 800 to 900 PFD range where you're trying to max out your flower. So in veg,
for wide.
Not long. Yeah, honestly, man, the spread, people worry too much about spread, dude. Like the spread on a bare cob is almost 180 degrees. Like you can see that shit just go straight out and hit the wall like 2 feet away, and it's only like 2 or 3 inches below the level of the cob. So if you're running that cob like 20 to 24 inches above your canopy, dude, it's going to be like a really wide spread. So yeah, I mean, vegging, dude, people do 4x4s all the time. Like if you check out my Instagram at Black Sail Market, you can get some really good ideas of what people are doing with it in veg.
Cool. So like 2 of your lights should be good for 4x8. Like what I got there.
GMF, can you mute your mic? I'm having trouble hearing. Thanks,
yeah,
bud.
So 2 of your lights should be enough for 4x8 then.
Yeah, definitely, man. I've got one of my friends vegging a 4x8 with 2 cannons right now, dude. I'll pull up a picture.
Lefty, what size tent are you busy vegging in? What size is your tent?
It's a 4x8, so I have 2 cannons basically covering a 4x4 area. But I flowered out in Operation Grow Season 3. I flowered out my 4 plants under a 3x3.
In a 3x3.
In a 3x3 under the cannon, yeah.
Under one cannon?
Under one cannon in the 3x3, yep, start to finish.
And
now it's just like overkill.
And so your final yield that you got as well, that was pretty.
It was good. It was good for first time running those plants, first time with nutrients, auto pot, the bang, everything turned out pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty good there, Keith.
Yeah, man, it's one of my boys up in Fort Collins. So, vegging a 4x8 with two of them is definitely, it's going to give you the ideal growth rates.
Yeah, because my whole idea and thought process behind lights is I prefer get like a few smaller ones as opposed to one big one, because when that one big one fucking goes, that's your light out there. So if you have like a few smaller ones and one go, you still have like two or one at least, you know?
Like one big plant versus 10 small plants.
Funny, I've noticed in like the last week since I put those other plants in there and just kind of got everything reset up, the overlap from the cannon on the other side where it catches the other side, I'm getting a lot of side growth off those Operation Growth plants because they're getting all that lateral cannon overlap from the other side. So I keep having to turn those two plants on that side because
they're like growing out on one side and nothing on the other.
So they got real close to one side one day. I'm like, oh shit. So I had to kind of turn them. It's really interesting seeing that. It's kind of nice because it's covering that overlap area.
Well, we're skewing the data.
I really appreciate the support, man, and I'm really glad you're having good success with them, dude. So
I love them. I just wish
that's my bread and butter, man. That's my favorite fucking thing to hear. Yeah, you need the height, dude. You need the height. Definitely.
So I want to commission a design of you where we've talked about it. I don't want to mention it necessarily on here, but with the different style of cooling. Yeah, I know it makes it a more expensive unit, but in terms of turning it into a serious low profile with the same amount of power and keeping it thin and low profile, yeah, I'd be interested in commissioning a prototype idea.
Talk to me in March when I've got the low pro lights to work with, and we'll definitely do that, dude. Because the CPU cooler thing, I think, is a really fucking cool idea. Like, so
I'm just thinking, just putting that on just one of the ones that you can attach to a cob, just directly to it. I mean, it only needs to be. Yeah, I was looking through some, and they do small, low-profile ones, which are high efficiency, low profile. Raptor and I were flicking through a bunch of them that time, going through and having a look to see what was on the market, and it's like, holy shit! I mean, there was stuff I hadn't seen before.
Yeah,
as long as it's as long as it's PC parts, if it's not RGB, it doesn't perform.
Oh yeah, dude.
Out of here.
RGB is performance, man.
Exactly.
But yeah, so another side question, Blackfield. What are your thoughts on like triple chip LEDs?
On what LEDs?
Triple chip.
So chip on board or chip on chip? You're saying?
Well,
okay.
I have this light and they claim to advertise it as triple chip, 3-chip LED. Let's see if I can pull it up on Amazon for you guys.
So they're like 3 different colors.
Well, that's it. I don't know much about LEDs, so it just said triple chip LED. So there's like, I know there's some UV and IR lights in there as well. But basically the whole selling factor was triple chips. So I was like, maybe that says something.
Yeah, interesting, man. I mean, I would have to take a look at it and take a look at the specs. My thinking, and this has been borne out by years of experience, is that that's exactly what I'm fighting against. Like doing silly little tweaks of 12 band spectrum, different colors and all that. These chips are less efficient, they're more expensive, and the bottom line is that full spectrum white LEDs are going, as spectrum wise, they're going to do everything you need them to do. The real challenge with LEDs is to get the proper intensity, the proper PPFD, so dollars per watt, micromoles per joule, and you should focus a lot more on the intensity of the light than the spectrum. So like anything with a veg bloom switch, that is a huge flag. You just paid a lot of money for those diodes. And a veg bloom switch is basically just an invitation to turn off half of your really expensive diodes. Why the fuck would you ever do that?
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
I get worked up.
No, yeah, it's all, it's all good. I understand how you're passionate about your stuff and what you do, but yeah, it was just actually the first light that we got.
Your biggest
And
challenge
like
is good.
growing is all fairly new around here and stuff. So yeah, but now I'm getting to realize that maybe those blue pearls is not really the goal. Since I actually just had a TS1000 on Mars, and that shit seems to be fucking performance compared to that triple chip.
So that's the first one I stumbled across. It doesn't seem to have RGB in it. That's going to be the biggest challenge with trying to use this tech. It's like, no, I don't want the RGB, man. Otherwise, you're going to have it in rainbow colors. And I've seen that now. What's interesting enough on the real like techie end of stuff, Intel have released a cryo. Well, Intel have worked with who's the company now? I can't remember off the top of my head. But a cryo freezer. So it's using Peltier coolers, and it can drop your CPU while it's running at full chatter. It can drop it down to like minus 10 degrees Celsius, which normally when that thing will go up to like 60, 70 degrees Celsius, that's like an impressive amount of cooling that it's
Is
doing.
that like liquid cooling?
It's got radiators attached, but it also has this Peltier cooling device.
With liquid cooling, I'm kind of concerned with that because whatever can go wrong will go wrong in a fucking grow room.
But then
Like
that's the
that's what I
advantage
like about your what you were picking, Pete. Like it looked a lot less.
The CPU fan, right?
Yeah.
That's like it's what Keith's using in the big radiator, but
Okay.
Keith, you've got passive. The difference is yours is passively cooled. So what they do to reduce the size is they put fans on it to make it actively cooled, and therefore you can reduce the. Because if you're doing it passively, you've got to give it a lot more surface area to work with. If I'm actively blowing air across this thing, I can reduce the surface area. But you'll see that they're made up of thousands, hundreds of little slats all of a sudden. So it's got a proper like radiator. But the ones we were looking at has those pipes, the copper pipes that you were talking about that condense and run up and then cool and drop back down again. They've got those pipes that come straight off the bottom piece, will run through these cooling fins that then has air blowing over them. But the big advantage about those other ones that I was showing, like now with the radiator, it's only a closed loop, very small closed loop. And I'd say the advantage by going with the PC stuff is, yeah, you think your lights are expensive. Do you know how expensive, PC start to get? And this sits inside one of those and runs 24/7, 365. So that you'd go for the branded stuff. To be honest, you go for Corsair and the brand names in that space. I wouldn't go with the whole. I mean, PCs you get the liquid cooling with the external pumps and that whole setup. I mean, that's a different category that you're stepping into. But the sealed units, get them as as they come. Yeah, they're not that expensive either. And they have they've been burnt in. They have the reliability factor. The one thing that is different, and it is, you mentioned it. I mean, it's the problem you have with liquid cooling. With fans, I can tell when the fan stops spinning and I go, okay, it's not cooling anymore.
Yeah.
If I can't see the pump has stopped working, I don't know. At least on a PC, the CPU has thermal cutout. If it gets too hot, it'll just shut down. If it did break on a light, the light will just run off and it'll just burn out.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as long as there's a fail-safe. It's like as long as there's some way so that coolant is fine where there's some kind of catchment tray or something like that just in case. But
yeah,
I can't disagree with the performance. That performance is off the scale. Like that's fucking awesome. But like that's what always makes me think like is that man, I've seen a lot of pictures and I've heard a lot of horror stories from just like adding things on and doing stuff like that. So as long, like I mentioned
Yeah.
before, if
I mean,
you are doing it the right way, hell yeah, then that's
there's-
efficient as fuck, and that's awesome.
I mean, okay, look, that one there is liquid cooled.
Hmm.
This little one there, but it's only water that runs between there and there. It's a very small sealed up unit. This doesn't burst and run into a problem. The ones that are way more problematic is this kind of rig where you have
Yeah.
a whole
Oh, yeah.
reservoir.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, oh man, like what kind of coolant are we talking about? Are we talking water coolant? Are we talking, using solutions that can
It's
like,
RSO it's RSO water and it's got colorants put in it. Yeah, to me it's like
yeah, but using
The smoke
water as a
before you
coolant
feel the
for
water.
sure. Yeah, a radiator, exactly. It's
but they all and it's got a big radiator down the front. But you would never do that for a set of lights. I mean, this cooling system costs 450 quid. So like $600-$700 for the cooling system. It's like
yeah, that's exactly like I just
This
don't
is
want to
50
see
bucks.
that so the one to the left, to the far left, like the green, just like I can imagine it pouring out. It's like no. But
At least it's
yeah,
green.
I mean, if you're just using water, I like these questions that are coming up because there's those are the things that should be answered. How's it going, Bob? Just those simple questions, like Duckweed was saying. Like, I've never heard about these chips, these LEDs. Well, if we can have someone that's actually well versed, like I don't build computers. So I just think of like, oh man, like the simplistic way of like, what the fuck if that goes wrong? So it's great that we can talk about it. Like we can just converse about it, not like, oh, you don't know anything about computers. Like, no, that's why I'm asking the question.
What would be interesting to see how it gets, because on mine it's all regulated, so it's keeping a track of the fans don't run and don't spin up to full speed unless the temperature is rising. If the temperature gets kept cool, the fans just tick over or stop altogether. If just through the heat sink, it's getting rid of enough heat. So if you were to turn down the power going to, the LED that needs to be cooled at a certain point, it'll go, all right, hang on. The ambient, there's enough heat being taken off. I don't have to worry about it. But when you want to really crank it up, the thing just then kicks in and keeps it running nice and chilled, which then puts less load on it and increases its longevity.
And both actually.
And the efficiency goes up. Yeah, as soon as you can bring its temperature down, its efficiency starts to climb back up again.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. That the fact that we have this cooler on there, something to keep it at a stable temperature, totally increases the longevity, which increases the value of it. And you can even say like, yeah, it's 20, 30, whatever X amount of dollars more, but how much more time are you getting out of it without having to replace everything as well?
These are those other styles. So this is
those are badass. Noctua, yeah.
So this is these are the copper pipe. This is the same cooling that's passively running in your big heat sink. And the only reason they can make these things smaller is by blowing a lot of air over it. But this is one way you can bring, the height profile down. But yeah, the only way, it comes at a cost. It adds a cost in terms of, you've got to drive something to do this. So, the convenience comes at a price. I think it's the way that it gets sold.
So funny. I was never really interested in all the computer stuff until I looked up how to build my own light. And I was like, oh shit, I can use a lot of this stuff. Okay, well, that's why I got familiar with this brand. It's so small and so efficient. And
they make really good stuff.
They make great products. The problem is the fucking brown color. No one wants that. They want RGB all day.
They're the one lot that haven't moved. In fact, if you want Noctua to do it all black, which you would think would be the easiest, Noctua fans all black are more expensive than the beige and brown one.
No, it makes sense from they're saving you money on the other end, if anything, and just overall it's more efficient. But yeah, that's that's definitely a complaint I've heard. Like in the first thing, like when I first saw it, I was just like, oh, that looks different from everything I've seen because everything else is flashy and
Yeah.
but you like I mentioned before, you can't argue with results, with efficiency and longevity. Like that's what matters. And I don't care, it could be hot pink. I don't care. If it's gonna give me fucking fire, that's
Yeah,
what I want.
maybe the girls will like the disco lights like that when the lights are on.
Yeah, and then hot pink as well, disco lights, everything. Yeah, bring it all in. Now we're trying to market to a different, the other side, the other 50%. Of fucking people.
Hey, Bob, nice to see you. Hey, Dan, your
Yeah.
customers here, by the way. Yeah. You got
Yeah, man,
protest him on,
greetings,
man.
you know. Greetings, don't get me into any trouble, you know.
Bob
You know
loves
how
the
things
hard
go
work.
down here. But yeah, man, greetings everyone. Give thanks for the moment and give thanks for life. Really give thanks. I was kind of listening earlier about getting some yard work done. Lots of rain, so lots of new compost to be made. Let's just say it that way. Say it nice. Yeah, man. The first thing I wanted to attack was the male pollen sacks that you're asking about. What to do with your male trees. So, of course, I tell you to juice them up, some banana, almonds, or cashew, whatever you want, something like that. Some jelly coconut water and some bananas, good punch. But also what you'll find in terms of a medicinal effect, just like any blossom that you would normally have to make tea, like we use passion fruit blossom, a lot of blossoms are very good, You do the same thing. You take them after it's harvested, you dry them, and you have them in like how you'd have a tea bag. Now, what you would find, I'm not going to say you're going to get high. Some of them might give you a little buzz depending on the genetics, but really and truly, I really wanted to take note of the different medicinal effects that you get. So if you have a tea that you drink normally every day, some ginger tea or chamomile or whatever these teas are, when you brew your tea, boil up the water, you put these in there and you steep it. All right, so you don't boil it up. You wait till the water is boiled already. You throw it in there, you take it off and let it steep, and then you drink it. Now, some of these plants, you find like all of these places right here start to open up. Really clear up all the sinuses and all these things. So some of it give you a little relief. So that is what, the male plants in terms of tea, you can note, Just to throw that out there. The lighting and so forth, I give thanks I live where I have sun, yeah, man, because it sounds technical. This sounds like Black say I got this amount to spend, just buy some, send me what I need, goddamn it. I'm not trying to go down that road. However, touching on the same point, what Raptor was saying is that, I think this industry really forced us all to seem smart or something like that. I don't know. I guess I was kind of dumb all along, and all of a sudden, I'm smart, So, it kind of forces you to learn and, reading, things that you wouldn't be super interested in. You really find your mind opening up enzymes. I mean, to sum it up, if I just paid attention in high school, I'm not even talking if you went to college or, you did 2 years. If you just paid attention in high school, bro, I swear to you, you'd be like number one. You'd be.
The teachers in high school had done it though. Like, look, mate, you're paying attention now. Chemistry is going to help you grow better weed. You go, all right, I'm paying attention.
All of them were potheads, man. How do you think they dealt with all of us, 50, 60 students? Because in one time they had to be on some shit, goddamn it.
Dude, when I was lecturing, we used to do that. My mate and I used to go out at lunchtime, get stoned as fuck, and come back and carry on with the lecture. You learned real quick that you had to write down before you went to lunch what you wanted to do after lunch.
The knowledge is in there, you just need to have these points, kind of written down. And once you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, all right, PPSD, okay, EC, okay, So, yeah, man. But give thanks, give thanks for the moment and the whole community. I love the vibe, so appreciate everything. See, Rastafari.
Hey, bless. One of the things I would, definitely would say is to look at other industries and see how did they solve these problems. And that was just what suddenly struck me on like the cob lighting is how has the computer industry solved this problem? Because we run things that get incredibly hot. I mean, the graphics card in here, that will run up to 70 degrees Celsius when I'm really pushing it hard and having everything kicks in and it tries to bring it back down to 40 degrees. But, you know, it's in a very small space that's having to cool incredibly hot components. And they solved that problem. You know, it was like, okay, so, and then I think that's more to it, is to look around and go, there is no new problem. Necessarily that problem's been found somewhere else, and they've likely come up with some solution. And it's like, okay, what did they do? How can I tweak it to work for what I'm trying to get it to do? You know, very rarely do we have to reinvent the wheel or invent a new wheel. It's just making some minor modification to one that's already been done. And the trick is just to figure out which other industries have the similarities that we're doing, and tap into those to figure out.
100%.
Hey, Pete, I gotta get out of here, man.
All right, dude.
It was nice. Blacktail, Dirtman, Bob on the job, Mr. Bagsy, to everybody. Thanks for stopping in. Nice seeing everybody.
Where can everybody find you, sir?
And at Lefty's Farm on Instagram and at Lefty's Farm on Cannabis. And I will get some stuff going here now that I'm settled in a little bit.
Nice. Well, and congrats on them all settled in, all moved. That's good, man.
Yeah, they look nice.
Crazy. Everything you saw came with me, so I was surprised. Yeah. So everybody have a good week. I'll see you next week, fellas.
Cool.
See you, buddy.
Buddy.
See you,
Stay
Lefty.
safe.
Have
Cheers,
a
man.
good one, buddy.
Ooh, who's that? Hang on a second. Let's put that in the spotlight.
Bob, that looking familiar.
ITAL Foundation.
I
Very
think
nice.
that's the
Yeah, actually, I mean, believe it or not, you know, I've been blessed where people give me a lot of gifts. You know, a lot of gifts get to me, and this is I ran some of them a couple of years ago. And truthfully, I don't really take a lot of note of names and things like that. But it's going through the genetics. I was like, man, this was some of the best outdoors I really ever planted. And this year they just found their way back into my hand again. So I'm like, fuck yeah, you know. So, I mean, if you do outdoor, it's worth the risk, you know.
the TKM10 and Platinum Pi, that same genetics.
Yeah, they do a lot of mostly outdoor stuff, and as I said before, they get me to market, you know, that's what I really remembered. But a lot of that Long Valley Royal Kush, you know, a lot of work where that's concerned. You'd have to look into it. I can't really get into a lot of detail. I just remember a couple of years ago, that was one of the better packages that really did well, you know. And see, right now they're full on swing and they're doing their thing. So just give thanks, you know, that's all I was saying, really and truly. And if anybody had any experience, that's really what I was asking. If anybody on the panel or, you know, in the chat, if they had any experience where, you know, those are concerned, I'd appreciate any tips before you get started.
Yeah, man. I guess I'll now be getting experience on those genetics.
You're gonna be ahead of me. I'm not looking to do anything till maybe January and so forth. But my sons kind of kept things going, so they kind of have a lot of work. Got me a lot of work to do. He figured out how to clone, and oh Lord, yeah. Let's just say there's a yeah. So yeah, I don't have a choice. I have my genetics selected already for me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You must be very proud, Bob.
Yeah, man, they do good. They do good. I really must say, and I really give thanks. You know, they're all right. I mean, it was crazy. I was telling the other day, one of them in the rain fell all the way down. So just imagine like a Durban kind of, in a big sativa, just fell on the side. And my son was trying to pull it up, and I guess because the rain was for a couple of days and stuff, so he came back. He's like, Papa, I think I found a new way to grow weed. You can just stretch it down to the side and all the branches go up to the top. I'm like, yeah, just keep using your intuition, man.
Yeah, you discovered a new way, the first new way in the last 1,000+ years. Brilliant.
I'm just saying intuition, and this is like 13-year-old, 12, 13-year-old, you know, and the little one is actually much more acute than he is, but he likes to get all the credit, you know.
And you know, nobody didn't have to tell him or explain to him, hey, this is LSD or this is what you need to do. This just happened and he just saw it and figured it out like, yo, this can happen.
Nah, he's trying to come up with a name. Joshua's tie down method. Like he thinks he's onto fucking something, goddamn it.
That's awesome.
But you know, whatever, you know, I say I give thanks. I really, you know, they really helped out a lot, especially when you're traveling. And just like you guys, you know, when you have a good trustworthy friend or a partner, if you have your wife or you know a good partner or something, you know how it goes when you really have somebody that can just follow instructions more than anything else. I really don't want the knowledge that you have unless I'm in emergency, and just kind of keep it simple and yeah, let's get it done, you know. So.
Thanks for the idea, but no, not this time. Next time, great, but just do it this way this time, please.
Yeah, it's your first fucking day. Like, keep it to yourself. Keep your fucking ideas to yourself for at least like 6 months, dude, because just cause shut the fuck up. Do what you're told. Yes.
I don't mind if you like bring it to me the way I told you to do it, and you can bring me the way you did it, but make damn fucking sure you bring me the way I told you to do it as well. Yeah.
I always say, let me take the blame. So when any organization, anything, I say, yo, let me take the blame. So if you do it this and do it this, let me take the blame. No problem where that's concerned. But you know, if you tweak it, then you know we're gonna have to. So I'm not super confident, but you know it is. You do this a couple of times, you kind of know what it takes, you know. So it might not be the best, but let's get it to market first, and then we tweak what we need to do in between.
Hey, and you got to make mistakes. You got to learn from them. You know, it's
a
harsh.
That's a teacher, you know. If you're willing to learn, she'll teach the hell out of you, you know.
It's a harsh mistress, but you know, it's. You very quickly learn after the first couple of mistakes as to just how harsh the mistress is to like, yeah, sorry, what were you saying again? Okay, so don't do it this way. Okay, cool. I'll take note.
Yeah.
And become very frustrated.
Yeah. Don't spoil you in the morning. No, only evening. Just forget what they say about early morning. Just wipe that off your list. No early morning. It will never be early enough. Yeah. Evening. Forget
So early, it's the evening. That's how early you want to do it.
Yeah, cause that sun really gets, you understand, and some plants are not as, and then when you're using like a surfactant oil or something like that, just stick to evening. You have a much better response. You know? So there's some simple things like that. I know the manufacturer said early morning, but listen, just please, evening, okay? Yeah. But yeah, man, and I was kind of wondering, I know you have a normally a set routine within your panel, like your operation grows, you know. Mm-hmm, so I just kind of wondering what's the next quote unquote project, you know.
We haven't really decided on season 5 yet. Actually, you wanted to speak to Jeff about that, but the next sort of ongoing project that will be kicking off is the breeding project. And that's going to be a really long running one. So I think I see that sort of kicking off on kind of its own with a catch up every couple of weeks or maybe once a month on that, because it's a slow process. It's not a beginning to end, you know, not
I'm just saying, keep me posted. I have a good network of farmers here. So if you want, you know, I don't mind. I think most people are getting more comfortable. So if you want some specific, of course, I'm going to focus mostly on outdoor where that's concerned. Or maybe a little hybrid here and there, but yeah, whatever you have going on, just, you know, keep me posted and just see what can happen.
No, because that becomes the interesting thing is people are picking, and it's interesting to see the sort of starting materials that people are picking with.
I'm sure all of us, that's what I'm saying, that I think pretty much all of us have something that's freaking similar. So if we can tie in some data and make it actually profitable in a more diverse way, then you understand? I mean, I'm sure somebody has something out of Jeff, and when you check it, we might have. Yeah, you understand what I mean? So whatever.
Yeah. I know Lefty is deliberate. I mean, Lefty is definitely running. All right, Dan, sorry, mate. Quickly, where can everybody find you before you shoot off?
Oh, shit. I turned the camera off.
Oh, shit.
You can find me. You didn't have to stop what you were doing, but no, you can find me Dirtman Dan on Instagram, or Embracing Organics on Instagram. I'm also Dirtman Dan on Cannabuzz, or every Thursday, the Embracing Organics show right here on YouTube. Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But thanks for having me, Pete.
Hey,
It was
absolute
fun- it
pleasure,
was fun
buddy.
chilling with
Thanks for
everybody.
stopping by. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Always
take it
welcome.
easy, man.
It was really nice to get to meet you, Dan.
Sir, peace out, boys.
Cheers. Stay safe.
Have a good one, man.
But yeah, on that, the idea of like Lefty has actually, I mean, and I think Lefty did the right thing. He spoke to Jeff beforehand and said, "Look, I'm wanting to do this with your genetics," and Jeff went, "No, that's fine, go ahead," and then gave some advice on this is what I would recommend you're looking for, kind of thing, knowing which line he's wanting to work with. And that's part of what makes this quite interesting.
Yeah, man, and I don't think, I mean, some breeders get real hooked up, but yo, if I was gifted your stuff or whatever, what you understand what I mean? I don't understand. If you give me now with regulations and I sign to it, that's different. But if I go to a ganja, like one of those, community, what they call them, like cups or conferences
Co-ops
or
or something.
whatever, symposium, all these names, whatever. And I get these, come on, what do you mean? Don't breed it and don't clone it, don't keep it forever. You're crazy.
Yeah. And
However,
that's,
I like
Right.
the approach that you're saying. I'm contacting you now to say, hey, I'm already doing this. If you have any pointers, I'd appreciate it.
Or also, hey, I'm about to do this. Do you have any objection?
Nah,
I mean,
rather
as
say I'm
as
sorry.
a
Yeah,
but
I'd
no,
rather
but I
say
mean,
I'm
as
sorry
a
than ask permission.
but as a
That's the way I
courtesy,
see it too, man. Bob, I see it that way too. You're selling a product that is capable of reproducing. Like if my Nike shoes could have babies, Nike would just have to fucking deal with it. Like what you're getting into.
Well, yeah, that was actually an interesting conversation me, Peter, and Bagsy was having earlier over on his channel about this sort of thing exactly. Where so you have a few people that have these fucking crazy ass strains out there, and you would want to think that these guys are probably living off the money they should be making off these strains, when really and truly they are not. How does you, as a creator of this, because
Some kind of
if you didn't
royalties
go
or-
across it, if you didn't go pheno hunting, that could have just slipped on by, you know what I'm saying? How do you get some sort of, not recognition, but reimbursement per se for
liking it with
putting forward such great genetic or whatever among the community?
I spent 15 years of my life perfecting this particular strain. And my skill isn't marketing. My skill is working on genetics and being able to produce these amazing plants. And then I give it to you, and you go off and make millions off the back of it because you've got this incredible marketing department that can do all of this. And you knew that. And you weren't doing it for personal gain. I mean, you're not using it for your personal use. And I think this is where I draw the big distinguishing marker is it's when it goes into commercial use. Then it's a different category that you're stepping into. And like I said on Bagweed's thing, I think the big problem that's facing this industry is you want it to go legit. Okay, well, if you want it to go legit, then understand this is how legit commerce operates. And it operates in this space. So if you don't want it to go legit, then fine. But if you want it to go legit, understand that you're going to run into people going, I want to license this off you, because it's a double-edged sword. The license means that I agree to deliver to you shit that will meet the requirements of the license. At the same time, you agree not to do certain things with it. So if I don't deliver, I get fucked. If you go and abuse it, you get fucked. It works both ways. So it as I said, for me, the distinguishing factor is purely on the commercial side of it, because Breeder X, who's selling his seeds to the seed bank, who then sells, seed banks aren't selling wholesale. They're not doing 60 pounds or 600 pounds of seeds to one buyer. They're just not doing that. They're doing packs of 10s of
maybe a pound.
Maybe at a push, and there'll be one or two who do that, and then they'll have to get contact with the guy who produces the seed. Yeah, and then they have to get hold of the guy who produces the seeds and arrange that deal, because they don't hold a pound of one breeder's seeds. And the guy who buys a pound is going to want some kind of confirmation of what he's getting, and it's going to meet so my whole thing about it is it's very specifically to when I'm using it for commercial gain.
And I can speak to that as well, because a lot of the contracts that we get with people like yourself, I mean, I would love to even say this person's name, but he doesn't want any recognition whatsoever. He's like, this is what I do. And when he delivers, he's like, yo, I expect a minimum of X amount of ounces. He evaluates the growth time, the growth cycle, everything. And then he comes in, okay, this one, expect by this, I'm expecting minimum between 22 to 27%, blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't really checks in. He checks in like the middle of the season and then towards the end of the season. And then after harvest, he just comes smiling. You understand? He kind of knows, because he takes a percentage off of harvest versus, and that's how he operates. And so that's what I'm saying. You have people like that, and that's where the industry, everybody has. That's what I'm saying. The pie is so big, you don't have to worry yourself.
And that's how every other sector works. I mean, I look at this. This is like software, or like open source software, where if I use it for just me and non-commercial gain, it's free. The second I use it to make money, I got to pay the person whose intellectual property I'm using to make the money. The guy who put in the grunt work, I now owe them something.
I don't think necessarily I buy your pepper seeds and I plant out my pepper and I sell them. I don't have to give you any money forward. But I can definitely, the accolades and the accreditation or whatever. Now, if prior you said that, hey, such and such, well, that's a different scenario. But generally speaking, I treat it just the same. You understand?
But that would be, but if you became a commercial pepper grower who turned it into your business, I mean, it's very different to popping down to the local market and selling it at the local market. Nobody's going to be fussed about that particularly. But where they get fussed is, oh, hang on, you just become another pepper manufacturer and you're using my pepper seed. Somebody will have a word with you about that and go, no, you can't do
what
that.
I'm saying, to get to that level, as you said, you're going to have a conversation with somebody. Availability alone is going to be a problem.
Exactly.
Unless you took the time to say, okay, I'm going to go into peppers next year, so I'm going to buy some seeds now, start breeding, whatever. You have to do something along that lines or whatever, But
what you're paying for is the short circuit of time.
That's what I was just about to say. Even though some people think that's smart, it's actually much easier. Just get involved with a nursery, a breeder, sign some paperwork, let them do it, and keep the thing going.
When you go to the nursery, you can buy a tree that's this big and pay 50 cents for it. Or you can buy a tree that's 25 feet tall and it took 15 years to grow and it's going to cost you 15 grand. Now, you have 25 years or however long it is? You do? Cool. Buy it for $1.50 or 50 cents and then just let it rip. Or you don't have that time? All right, you can buy the time and it's going to cost you X.
And if you need 20,000 seedlings, 40,000, 80,000, 100,000, you get what I'm saying? Yes, if somebody's already doing this, because honestly, people think germinating seeds is super. Yeah, it's all right, but try do it on a 20,000, 50,000 scale. You're drawing some of them, so you're guaranteed germination rate. So when you get a tray of seeds or you get a tray of seedlings, fuck yeah. Yes, it's much more, you understand? Feasible for a large scale, in my opinion. It's just more. But whatever, as I said, the pie is big. You find your lane and stick to it. Once you master your lane, you're not gonna have any problem in terms of the competition and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely no issue with if you're using it for personal, go for it, go wild, do what you want to do with it. I do, as Bagseed and Duckweed were saying, you do see these seed guys, you'd think, considering the strains that are associated to them and how much money has been made with those strains, that they'd be balling it, and they're not. They're scraping by. You see these fundraisers to help these guys out. You're like, what the actual fuck? Where's the honor in the industry that can turn around and say, I made millions off the back of his work. I owe him something.
I agree with that concern. Definitely have to give props. But as I said, it really depends on your whole system. So for example, we out here, when we plant traditionally on a seasonal basis, I get a 10-pack. What am I going to do with that?
Nothing.
You understand? I have to breed those first. then I have to get out, you know, a jar of seed that I can put out in a field, and I won't see them again till that strain is just gonna go. So that's why I say it's vintage productions is what mostly we put out. And usually, once you find a strain that you like, you set aside your little nursery and you keep what you call it, IBL or whatever you try to do, whatever, you keep that strain. So even these genetics, you understand, you have to find a home grower. It's really suited to somebody with, 5, 10, 20 trees or whatever, doing a little garden. But when you're trying to do something in terms of, a bigger scale, it's really difficult. You get me? So the 10 seed, it doesn't work out. The time you have to put in to get that 10 seeds now to maybe 1,000 to actually put out a quarter acre or something like that. And then when you reap it back, we don't have lights. So you understand what I mean? It's not like you're gonna get huge, the quarter acre. Maybe the skill farmer might give you 100 and something pound, maybe,
I mean, there's nothing like an equivalent would be me buying one of Keith's lights and then just break it down and go, all right, I see how it's made. Cool. And I can have a hookup and I can do them for a third of the price. And Keith, you'd be pissed, man. You go, fuck, I did all the research to figure out what components are the best components to use. And that's why I have to sell my units at this elevated price, is because I've got all this R&D work that I've got to pay for. Now, somebody else comes in and hijacks it and goes, you've done all the R&D work. I don't have to spend on all the components and all that R&D process. I don't have to do that. I just take the final product, buy one of them, break it down and go, right, here's all the components we need. Go off in the market and buy. That's why I can suddenly sell it for a third of the price, because I've had no R&D into it whatsoever. Chances are I can't improve it either, because I have no understanding of what the thought process was that went into it, but I can reproduce it way cheaper than you can, because I don't have any of that history, that baggage to come with it. And then that pisses you off, and you want to protect that. You want to protect the effort you put into it. And it's no different. I mean, this is what I struggle is. It's no different to if I took Jeff's King Solomon and I find that one, suddenly I can reproduce his shit. It's going to piss him off, and rightly so. I just because it's a plant doesn't mean the person who spent so long tweaking it and perfecting it to get it to where it needs to be. It's no different to a physical thing like Keith made. It's no different.
I understand what you're saying about. I guess with where I'm for, the personality or taking it that personal, it's not really that big. It doesn't exist that much, I guess, from the cultural standpoint. So I totally understand. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, just from
like patenting, the idea of even trying to patent something, it's like totally weird. I mean, how are you going to patent a strain or patent? I don't even know what to say, but I understand it, but it's just not that, it's not that high of a focus, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But again, I don't think Keith would have a problem with somebody at home and, I'm going to make one more light that's like Keith. That's close enough. One more, it's fine. But it's when I go and turn it into a business that Keith suddenly has a problem.
As I said, I think if you're smart, what I would do now, if I figure it out that I'm getting products cheaper, and I can build it for a third of the price, I'm gonna have to show up at Keith and be like, yo, Keith, I figured out this. I don't know anything about lights, but what can we do? I can produce it for you for a third of the cost. Yo, let's do something.
Yeah.
You need 100 grand.
If somebody came out with my light for a third of the price, I would copy their shit, dude. I mean, fuck it, bro. That's how it goes.
But
exactly.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to say it's a basic example, but in terms of usually why the original guy who brings it out, why their product is always more expensive and usually a higher quality, is because of the R&D costs that come with it that they've got to make back. And that's why, like in the big pharma world, they hold, like in this part of the world, they can only hold a patent for so long, and it's specifically designed so that they can recoup their R&D costs. Once it's gone over like 5 or 7 years, it goes into general production. If you have not recouped your costs by then, tough shit. It's in the open field then, and then anybody can do it. And suddenly, so like here, you go and buy ibuprofen from Nurofen, it's £4 for a pack of Nurofen ibuprofen. Generic Boots ibuprofen, 90p. It's a quarter. It's less than a quarter of the price, and that's just because it's suddenly open to everybody to do it. But people still buy the Nurofen one because they understand the quality of it. They, the brand awareness, and that's the power of the brand all of a sudden.
And it's just like the orange Gazimar, just like any other genetic. It's growing, it's out there now. But you find a grower that can master that particular strain, or he grows it his way. And for some reason, people just want to get it from him. So all of us might have the orange Gazim, but for some reason, coming from Jeff or coming from whoever, it just fits your profile better. So you understand what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Certain stresses that we bring onto ourselves, I don't think it's necessary, like, yeah, I don't know. The world is already stressful enough, goddammit. Like, I don't need to be. You just do what you do properly, and I just think that it will work. As say Keith started in this now, and somebody taking over. By then, maybe innately he probably stop once doing lights and move on to fucking something else. So it's probably the right timing anyway. So you never can tell, just learn to take it not so personally and hardcore. But I'm by no means saying let people roll over you, and you get what I mean? Step over your copyright, stuff like that. No way. And I'm not saying don't be respectful of people. You hear me say it all the time, That's why, a lot of breeders I stop commenting on them, because actually I have experience with a lot of the strains, and a lot of them are crazy. So when I find somebody like, a Jeff or, ITAL Foundation, somebody like that can work with, I will always keep going back, So it's just a balance, you work with lights and you find that way, and it works better with Keith. You're just gonna keep going back. That's all you're gonna do, if you're smart, in my opinion, anyway. And you work it out with them.
Sorry, I'm trying to switch this off at the same time. Right. Camera, Keith. Sorry, Keith.
Oh yeah, no, you had two cameras on. We were kind of looking at your roof and like the bottom of your hand whenever you reached for your drink. I just figured I'd give you a heads up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's still running. I was gonna, because I think we're gonna sort of wrap up to the public part of the show and switch over to carry on the conversation. If anybody from chat would like to jump in, I shall post the link up. And you are more than welcome to dive in. We'll drop off it being live, so you can jump in and ask any questions if you didn't want to do it on live, for instance. And yeah, hang out, and this conversation will continue. So quickly, before we shoot off, quick round of thanks to everybody for jumping in. Wow, 54 people watching. I'm always impressed. And really big thanks to everybody who jumps in here. I'm amazed. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. But quickly, for everybody who's on still, Genetic Memory Farms, where can everybody find you?
You can typically find me in the chats on YouTube, hanging out in Operation Grow, or hanging out at Fumi. If I can be helpful. So just the same name, Genetic Memory Farms at Instagram. And if there's anything I can be helpful with, give me a holler. As you can see, I do a lot of weird ferments. I make a lot of very strange things. So if anyone's got questions, I'm always happy to be helpful. So have a great one, folks. And really, thanks for coming by. And thank you to Pete for making a platform for us. Thank you, Rasta Bob, for coming. Thank you, Black. You have Keith. It's always a wealth of knowledge from you. So I really appreciate getting a chance to hang out with you guys.
Excellent. And Mr. Bagsy, let's quickly root through. How you doing? Where can we find you?
Yeah. No, just find me on Instagram. I do Instagram and Twitch and all that stuff. So just find me on Mr. Bagseed, and it's the same as I spell it on here. So pretty easy. Yeah. Thanks for letting me hang out, and it's a good time. I always learn a lot, and it's cool just hanging around. So
yeah, absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining in.
You what?
You do on Twitch for people that want to see you.
Like Warzone or talk. Yeah, Warzone or talk or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I do Fall Guys just when I mess around, but I don't know. I just like when I'm not down in the garden. I just like to waste time and do something like that. So
yeah, definitely hook up for some Warzone.
Yeah,
get that on. And Raptor Grow, where can we find you, sir?
Oh, I'm Raptor Grow. You can find me on Instagram at Raptor Grow, and also Tuesdays, Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, Humidor's channel. Or Humidor and the Flavors channel. That's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And today, Saturday, you can find us at 8 o'clock 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Brews with Butts. And you get to watch me watch everyone get drunk while I laugh.
And Keith, where can we find you, sir?
Blacksalemarket.com, on my Instagram at blacksalemarket, and on Cannabis at blacksalemarket. If y'all aren't on Cannabis, I highly recommend hopping on there, man. All of a sudden lately, there's been like a ton of like really like cute stoner girls popping up on Cannabis. So like,
One's been in lockdown for a while.
Yeah. I've been like, I saw one, and then the next day I saw 3, and then 10, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? Way to go, JR. Yeah, but
Canna fans now or what?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Cans only.
Yo, of all the people JR have asked to put in a plug, I think that is the best one. Yeah, that's the best marketing tool. You know? You're gonna have 50 new subscribers tomorrow. 100 new. How many viewers we have? 100 new subscribers.
Excellent.
Hey, you got one right here, man.
And Bob on the Job, it looks like Duckweed's disappeared. His cat's there. But Bob on the Job, where can we find you?
Come on, Fuma do a channel, Fuma do on the flare. Between him and Dan, Embracing Organics, they're my agents. I don't know. But I have an Instagram that I pay attention to sometimes, Jim Goolibab. But I mean, yeah, whatever, man. Whenever, you can just ask these guys for me and they'll get in touch with me. No problem anytime. Pete, Raptor Grown, all of them kind of have my connection. Genetic Memory Farms, very good contact. So get in touch with any one of them and they'll always get out to me. It's no problem. Anytime, anywhere, nothing to hide,
Nice. I see Ian's probably hit the nail on the head. Cute stoner girls sounds like the feds.
I'll ship you as many clones as you need. No worries. Yeah.
Along with a pair of my soiled panties. And on that note, we will jump off and catch you guys later. If you're welcome to jump across. But yeah, we're done out. Stay safe, everyone.